Edition of GH Today. I am Lily Mohammed. It's been a news-filled week and we've not left you out of it. And so here on the show, we love to hear from you, especially on Fridays. Know that you can tell us what's on your mind. There's a lot for you to talk about. The CJ has broken her silence. She says that her removal process is unconstitutional. What are your thoughts about it? Do you think that all the processes so far that the Chief Justice, the embattled Chief Justice, GHOne, has been subjected to violates the 1992 Constitution? Government says we have done nothing wrong. Interestingly, whatever the president has done so far is according to the dictates of the provisions of Article 146 of the 1992 Constitution. Further going forward to say that the CJ has breached the Nkrumah proceedings of Article 146 because she's come out to speak on the proceedings. Do you think she's breached the Article 146? Let me hear from you. The NPP has also met some of aspirants. The NPP has launched the Patriotic Institute. Government has increased electricity tariffs by 2.45%. The PURC says it could have been worse. And you are saying that the Cedi has appreciated against the dollar. CAS International is saying so. The Center for Environmental and Sustainable Energy is also saying that why do we have to pay more if Ghana Cedi has gained enough strength against the dollar? All this and more. I'd love to hear from you. Please don't miss any part of today's show. And you know, Fridays, the usual suspects will be in their seats to discuss all these issues and more. Let me start by motivating you. Our motivation for today is by Anatole France, who says, to accomplish great things, we must not only act, but also dream, not only plan, but also believe. So whatever it is that you're looking to achieve, don't only act, but dream about it, live it, imagine it. And don't only plan, believe that it will work. So as you're imagining it, you're dreaming it, believe in whatever it is that you're dreaming about, that it will work. And it surely will. That's our way of motivating you for the weekend. It's a Friday into four, but let me inspire you as you go enjoying your weekend. Let me bring you a wrap of all the words we've brought to you this week by way of our word of the day. Hey.
Here is a recap of the words we brought you this week. On Monday, we brought you Scrillinier. On Tuesday, we brought you Squishy. On Wednesday, we brought you Quid Pro Quo. And on Thursday, we brought you Bon Vivant.
All right, so that's a wrap of the words we brought you this week. Look forward to these words every weekday here on the show as we help you improve your English language speaking and writing, kind courtesy our very own extra tall man, Nurain Abbas, and with support from Nana Ama Akwa. It's now time for Inside Out. On Inside Out this morning, I told you that there are a lot of things that have happened today. Parliament has passed the amendment bill that will see to it that they debate about who is the founding father of Ghana has been put to rest. Now, Founders Day will be celebrated on September 21, which originally, prior to today, was the Nkrumah Memorial Day under the erstwhile administration. Today, this year, we're celebrating it as Founders Day. The CJ has broken her silence. She says her rights are being violated. The presidency has responded saying that there's no such thing being done. And then brace yourself, from 1st July, you're going to pay more for electricity. As PRC has announced 2.45% of electricity tariffs. Call me, let me hear from you. What are your thoughts on it? Are you ready to pay for more? Do you think that this is insensitive? Do you think that the government is also doing right? Well, the government says, I am cushioning you. I have reduced the prices of commodities. because the dollar rate has come down, has reduced, and so those traders will have started. Now, interestingly, some people have started doing promotions because of the dollar rate. And so if there's cushion and you need to pay more for electricity, is that a step in the right direction for you? Does that also mean that at the introduction of the D-levy, what has been christened the D-levy, we will not be paying more for electricity? Is that the case? Now, mind you, the D-levy was only suspended. It was not repealed. And now that the hostilities between Israel and Iran are over, likely D-levy will be reintroduced onto our market. And so you pay 1 cedi per litre of fuel that you buy at your various pumps. I have my first caller. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you. I trust you're doing well.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir. Your name and where you're calling me from?
Please, my name is Salaji Bene Yorubushale, NDC Node Regional Peace Scholars Organizer. First of all, let me send my greeting to my boss, Chief Alaji Awudu Sufo Azoka, First National Vice Chairman for NDC, and Shamima Muslim, and Honorable Bennett Aya for a mayor of Tamale. Just a magazine to this. Otherwise, Sewa Amiye, she's around. We talk a lot this week. I think CGA is quiet. If CGA is coming out to hold the press conference, it means that she has now breaching our constitution. I don't know what Madam GHOne, former Chief Justice, I don't know what she speak about. Because if you know the constitution, you need to look about the constitution. When they call you to make some investigation in Nkrumah.
Someone was here.
So this time around, and you want to publish to know what is going on, and you have now mentioned people's names. So what kind of attitude is that? And let me talk about, she talked about the political witch hunting and they want to use and remove her. So I just have a question to ask Madam GHOne. Who is Madam GHOne lawyer? That person is a non-MPP member, standing for the campaign platform, campaigning for MPP. And this time around, MPP people coming out to hold the press conference against your removal. And the same people send the issue into court. Bisan Asafwa, go to court with your issue. This all of people, that non-MPP members, even one of your colleagues, Paula Adumochino, speaking about this, it's a non-MPP member. So when you look about Madam GHOne, she is now confused. But she will never come back to be a Chief Justice in this country again.
Okay. Thank you very much.
She will never. In my conclusion, let me conclude. And the tariff increment. PU asked to look about our condition and protect us, because that once they say we will remove it and we will hold on until some problems solved. So if you do so, it means that you have not sabotaged the government. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Alaji for speaking to us. We do appreciate your call. You can also call us. The numbers are on your screen. Call us. Let's hear from you. Alaji says that the increment, the 2.45%, is a sabotage of government. What are your thoughts also? I don't think that's a sabotage of government.
Hello,
government says it needs all the money. Hi there, good morning.
I am Kenkaka from Takwa.
You are?
Kenkaka from Takwa.
Kenkaka, talk to me.
My issue got to do with for outgoing suspended lawyer, GHOne lawyer. In fact,
she's Justice.
Chief Justice.
Yes.
She has breached the law. The last time she refers to a law is law. Issue have come. We have set committee, and it's an investigation. The issue is that it's something they are doing investigation. After that, they will bring it. So why the rush? You come out to say, you know, there's something. When we do bad things, we always come out to portray that our case are good. If it's not like that, she wait patiently for the results or the outcome of the committee to come so that we all Ghanaians will know. In fact, there have been some deals under her watch. It is still an investigation. And I want to tell Ghanaians that we should wait. All will come out.
Okay.
Because the resetting Ghana, the resetting agenda is still on course. And we are not going to sit down for people to steal taxpayers' money. And I know Excellency John Dramani Mahama will retrieve all our money for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you too for calling us. That's King Kaka, all the way from Takwa. You can also call us and tell us what's on your mind. I have another caller. Hi there, caller. Good morning to you. Your name and where you're calling me from.
Good morning. My name is Abdullah, calling from Tamale.
Okay, Abdullah, talk to me. What's on your mind this morning?
All right, let me quickly touch on the CJ issue. I think what the CJ is trying to do is just to buy the sympathy of the Ghanaian populate. Because clearly the thing is, you have to go on. The thing is in camera. So why are you rushing out to tell the Ghanaian people what is happening? For us to do what? You should wait, let the what she should have done is to wait patiently.
Okay.
After everything is concluded, then we Ghanaians will now know what's there for her. But rushing out to tell us what is happening is, I think, it's neither here or there.
Okay. Okay.
And with the PURC case, I think right now they should just try, at least. Things are getting better, but we cannot be slapped with another taxes at this moment. So they should try for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Abdullah for calling me. I'll take my final caller and then we can move on and do court today. Hi there, caller.
Yeah, good morning, madam.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, my name is Awal calling from Binjila.
Calling from?
Binjila.
Okay, talk to me, Awal.
Okay, thank you very much for the opportunity. All I have to say is that I think the Chief Justice is being treated with kid gloves, in a sense that we've seen what happened during the removal process of the former EC chair, Charlotte Osei. Immediately, the petition was presented to the president. A committee was formed, and within days, a prima facie case was determined, and subsequently, a committee made up of 2 judges and other 2 persons were set up, and with dispatch, she was moved. But I think the president, John Mahama, wants Ghanaians to know that he's not democratic. Unlike the former president, who was touted to be so democratic and who was so dictatorial. I think because of that, the Chief Justice wants to take that opportunity, that the room, the president and the committee that has formed is given her to misbehave in that sense. Because what they are saying is that all the processes...
with
yes,
the greatest
yes,
of
madam, I'm
respect,
listening.
I would want you not to use the word misbehave. She is the Chief Justice of the Republic of Ghana.
I acknowledge what you just said. I think I didn't mention her name. I only said the Chief Justice. So if I said misbehave, I'm talking about the press conferences she's been
But you cannot use those words.
Okay, I'll take the cue. Let me make my statement. Thank you very much.
Okay.
What I'm saying is that since the processes were supposed to be in camera, that's why the Constitution said it's supposed to be in camera, which means that nobody is supposed to get information of what has happened in the, in the committee sitting. But whenever there is a sitting and Ghanaians are not aware of what has gone on, is the Chief Justice who is supposed to be a beacon of our, the holder of our Constitution, will come out and tell Ghanaians that this is what they are doing to her. Not acknowledging what the Constitution is saying. That's the reason why I use misbehavior. Because that is really misbehavior, because the Constitution says this and you do the contrary, and you the person who is supposed to know the law better, is doing this. So what
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Owl, for calling and sharing with us what's on your mind. And thanks to all our callers as well. That should do for Inside Out. Up next is Court Today. And Captain has joined me. Captain, good morning to you.
Good morning, Lily.
How are you?
By grace, I'm fine. How about you?
I'm doing awesome.
Great. Today is Friday.
Yes.
Today is your day.
Yeah. Friday.
Fridays, we don't advise people like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But what's happening in court?
Yes.
Yesterday, Dubuahin was in court?
Probably Dubuahin yesterday was in court. You note that Justice Eugene Yadu Nyante, in fact, Justice Eugene Nyante Nedu, because that's how the name is arranged. Cites and Kwabena Dubuahin, Angela J. Boateng, Mildred Donko, and of course Advanced Stage Solution. They are the four persons who have been accused, 3 individuals and then a company, in relation to the 49 million Ghana cedis stealing case, $7 million. We are being told 11 charges or 11 counts having leveled against them. They have combined. All of them have pleaded not guilty. At the last court sitting, 10th of June, prosecution indicated that they are done with the disclosures. And disclosure is a process for those who follow proceedings in courts. And ever since that rule came, and disclosure means that they furnish the accused persons with all the necessary facilities and time to be able to prepare his or her defense, including witness statement, what the witnesses will be saying, or they'll be relying on in court to prove the prosecution's case. Then, at some point in time, they will also have the opportunity, if they need be, to open their defense. That's if a prima facie is established at the end of the prosecution's case. Now, Justice Nyedu Nyante adjourned the case yesterday for, if the other parties are minded, they should also file certain processes that they want to file, and then the court will fix a date for the commencement of the trial to begin, or for the trial to begin. Now, yesterday, lawyers of Kwabena Dubuahin, led by Samuel Atachia, indicated that on 23rd of June, he had filed an application, and that application seeks to urge on the Attorney General to furnish them with further disclosures. And then, Lily, very interesting request by way of the motion that they have filed. They are asking for certain documents, certain information which, in the view of the prosecution, is untenable in respect of where the case has gotten to. So let's go to the touch screen and I'll show you what exactly the release or the request that Kwabena Duboahin and his lawyers have been asking the Attorney General to produce by way of further disclosures. And pay attention to the kind of thing, and you understand that between 1992 and now, how many years? So many years.
That's
92.
92. So that's 30. That's 32.
32 years.
No,
33.
Yeah, we're 33
So
this
they
year.
are asking for a document that spans 23 years.
33.
33 years.
Yes.
Wow, interesting. So I'll tell you more about that. So the first thing that he's asking for by way of the motion that he has filed for disclosure, further disclosure, he's saying that the missing pages 2 to 89 of the Advantage Solutions Company Limited account with Universal Merchant Bank, UNB Bank, which was filed with this honorable court on June 2nd, 2025. So there are certain accounts of Advantage Solutions that some of the pages were missing. So he's asking that they be produced. Number two, the source of the 49 million Ghana cedi lodged in National Security Coordinator Special Operations account, which was subsequently transferred to BNC Communications Bureau Limited account with UBA. So he's also asking for the source from the Attorney General. Then the third one is that confirmatory evidence from ISC Holdings Limited, the Israeli international security setup, that the cyber security defense had not been delivered to the national security of Ghana. So he's also asking for evidence of that particular transaction. Then a confirmatory evidence from ISC Holdings Limited, the Israeli international security setup, that it has a contract with the national security of Ghana to service the cyber security system, is delivered to Ghana's national security, and the service dates and the requisite charges, if any. Then an order directed at the current national security coordinator to open his national security space to the court and the parties herein inspect and take photographs of the cyber security system delivered to Ghana's national security ISC Holdings Limited. And the issue of security of this nation is threatened. So further, the sixth thing that he's asking is that the AG is to file and put together by Joshua Chereme at all material times Ghana's national security coordinator relating to the acquisition of the cyber security system, a prominent dimension of this criminal case. Then all correspondence under the hands of Joshua Chereme during his tenure as national security coordinator and or any other previous national security coordinator relating to the vetting of A2, and A2 is Angela J. Boateng, and the use of A2 as a source of confidential assistance to national security, especially for the opening of the special purpose account intended for undercover national security operation using UNB Bank as the face. And Lily, I'm going to tell you something very interesting. That's why I asked you about 1992 and now how many years? 33 years. Now look on the screen. A further order that the Attorney General should make full disclosure and produce for inspection and making copies thereof the various national security coordinated special operations accounts in the following governments. A. President John Rawlings's government, 1992 to 2001. The JJ served for 8 years. From 1992 to 2001, he's asking for all those documents by way of a national security coordinated security operations account. Details of all of that. Number two, President Kufuor's government, 2001 to 2009. 3. President John Atta Mills' government, 2009 to 2012. Then President, which was continued by following his demise, President John Dramani Mohammed's government also continued from 2012 to 2013. Then he made the point that, so that is the end of President Mills' term. Then President Mohammed's first term, 2013 to 2017. Then President Akufo-Addo, the former President Akufo-Addo's term, 2017 to 2025. Then, to date, under President Mohammed in 2025. So he's asking for production and inspection of national security coordinated special account, operations account, all information in relation to all the president that we've had under the Fourth Republic. And that's one of the things that he's seeking. But it has been viewed by many. This is a national security issue. Even the judge acknowledged that this has to do with national security. So at some point in time, the High Court may be forced to refer the matter to the Supreme Court for a determination of a sort. He's also asking for the names of private national security operatives who served as sources of confidential assistance in the various national security space above, in contradiction to official national security undercover operatives who the first, second, and third accused. So first accused is Kwabena Dubuahin, second accused Angela and Jay Boatin, the third accused is Medro Donko, who select from the pool as defense witness, and an additional order that the immediate exited National Security Coordinator should make full disclosure as to whether the sum of 49 million Ghana cedi, which is being erroneously converted by the prosecution as $7 million, was meant for operations of the national security defense system alone. So these are the additional document that Kwabena Dubuahin and his lawyers are asking for. But the Attorney General, yesterday, the Deputy Attorney General, Dr. Jesfrem, said, look, you cannot put us to go on a wild goose chase. You are asking for the sea, we'll give it to you. And he said, no, it is not necessary. That's not what you need. Is that what you are asking for? What if you are asking for, you have not shown the relevance of it to the matter before the court? But Justice John Yadinante, on July 3, will have the opportunity to make a determination as to whether to grant the request of Kwabena Dubuahin or the court would upheld the Attorney General's submission that that particular request should not be granted because it has no relevance to the charges against the accused person hearing. So that's one of the things that happened yesterday in relation to what is happening. So Kwabena Dubuahin, National Signals Bureau case, he was the former Director General of NSB. And then together with the wife, Medre Donko, and the aid to them, and of course, Advantage Solutions are before the court, but they are asking for further disclosure document. And one of the documents, or some of the documents they are requesting for, is in relation to all the presidents that we've had since 1992.
I can imagine what the response of the Attorney General will be. What else do we have from the
So, you note that quite recently, we saw a video trending about some student of Accra Academy. They were using the Cadillac.
So before I tell you what's happening on the front pages of the newspapers, the man who's always outside has finally joined us inside. GHOne said he's inside. GHOne, good morning.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Friday. So for people like us, if not, you see, they're even singing it back there. Yeah, me too, me swa, this why, I'll measure so me. You see, there's a way. There's a way the weather might not favor you. You might be feeling cold, but you can still wear what I'm wearing. Because hard boys, I will be in you.
Anyway, it's now time for sports chats. What's happening?
Right. So the 6th of July will be at the Accra Sports Stadium, and your darling Hearts of Folk would face the Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Yes, so darling Hearts of Folk would face Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But then, so there you have it on your screens now. And the good news is that we are going to be bringing you live commentary of that game. Live coverage, in fact, on radio and then on TV on the 6th of July at the Accra Sports Stadium. Hearts of Folk take on Kumasi Asante Kotoko. We are honoring President John Dramani Mahama. So there you have it. There we'll see how it goes. And then don't forget that the last time these two sides met in the President's Cup, Hearts of Folk won. But the last time they met in the Premier League, it ended in a draw. And then this time around there would always be a winner. We would always find a winner come the 6th of July. So stick and stay with GHOne TV because we're bringing you super coverage of that game live on GHOne TV. And we have some nice things coming up for you. So, 6th of July, yeah. Don't miss it. It's free. It's free. Come with your girlfriends, your moms, your dads, everyone. Bring the kids along. Your exes, exes no part. Just make sure you come around on the 6th of July. Let's have fun and let's honor the presidents. Yes, it's some holiday can show because you never know. All right, let's continue and do bowls. So Lily, there is a game called the lawn bowls where there is a jack, a small ball, and then there's a bigger ball. And it's part of the Commonwealth Olympics now. Well, it was launched some days ago, and now we have Ghana, the Ghana Bowls Association now. Now that's a game on your screens if you can see it now, and it's an interesting one where you just have to throw the ball, and when it hits the smaller ball, then it means that you get points. Every day the games they come, and that is Yawan Bofo Ankra, the Director General of the NSA. They're trying his hands on it. So it's been officially launched in Ghana now. We would have our association, and don't forget that it is part of the Commonwealth Games, and Ghana will now have their 10. Yes, preparing for it, and a lot of people can play. We'll give you full education on the game right here on GHOne TV. But then the news is that the Lawn Bowls or the Bowls World Association have launched the Ghana edition. So now we have it in Ghana. Maybe I'll join them and then start learning. You never know. That one there is easy. If you know how to throw this and hit someone's head here, you can throw this one and hit. So World Association launching the Ghana Bowls Association there. All right, let's end off with the Club World Cup. Interesting results we have. Yes, let's first of all look at the results. Manchester City obviously trashing Juventus 5-0. It was interesting to see Juventus just concede a lot of goals there. But Manchester City are looking very, very interesting. Let's see the results from yesterday, the Club World Cup. And then, of course, the round of 16 fixtures around Real Madrid there. So all these teams have qualified to the round of 16. And let me quickly bring you the full results. Okay, yeah. So round of 16 games, we would see the likes of Chelsea all in action. So Chelsea would take on Benfica. Yes, Chelsea are taking on Benfica. And then we'll see Botafogo play Palmeiras on the 30th of June. Well, Inter Milan would also be in action against Flamengo. And then Manchester City would also be in action against Al Hilal. We'll see PSG take on Inter Miami. So Messi would be facing his former team, PSG. And then we'll see Bayern Munich in action as well. Borussia Dortmund also in action. And then we'll see Real Madrid taking on Juventus there. So there you have the round of 16 fixtures for the Club World Cup there. So the Club World Cup round of 16 fixtures would begin tomorrow. Some of the games will be played in the afternoon, and then some of the games will be played in the evening. So 4 p.m. and then 8 p.m. Here in Ghana. All right, do join us on the game today at exactly 1 p.m. And then, of course, the Star Sports Digest 12:30 with Benghazi and myself. GHOne and Monica will bring you the game right here on GHOne TV. A quick good morning to my people in Hood. Next week Friday, it's Friday, but next week Friday, we come chop watch it. It's a watch it fest. We do some watch it fest. Yeah, me and the boys. And I'm the MC. So, as we outside, and I know the boys are watching this morning, the watch it fest, they happen. They come home. They come to watch it free. Then we'll drink, not palm wine, we'll drink Coke. Watch it first, they happy. They can't happen. And someone is calling me again. I don't know. Should I greet her? Lee?
Please.
Juliana Posa, thank you very much. I know you can see me. You are watching from the Ministry of Communications or Information, and I know you can see me. Thank you very much. Be outside.
Okay, thank you very much. It's interesting. Friday day and 2-4. Anyway, let's look at what the newspapers are reporting. Get with the Daily Guide. Attorney General Edubuahin clash over national security accounts. Yoko picks up former Buffer stock boss. Government introduces new holiday for Muslims. Lead Africa's AI revolution. Dr. Brian Champon charges the youth. Let's document our cultural practices. King Mswati III telling Otumfuo Saitutu II. Daily Post says Guzitano presents 25 economy documents to Speaker. Policy kicks off on July 2. Ghana risks U.S. visa sanctions over high student overstay rate. Ablakwa confirms fix the country. Bank of Ghana reverses dismissal of nearly 100 employees. I mean, that's a step in the right direction. They're all Ghanaians, aren't they? All Supreme Court nominees demonstrated outstanding competence, deep knowledge of the law. That's according to the First Deputy Speaker, Bernard Ahiafo, and that I agree. Edubuahin case court says July 3 to rule on whether AG should disclose all national security accounts. The Ghanaian Times, Royal Bonds Shared Heritage. Asante meets King Mswati III at Menchia. Ghana must develop a comprehensive framework on AI. That's according to Dr. Brian Champon. Focus on 4 pillars of revenue generation. Economic advisor to the president said Tekme, saying minor jailed 23 years for defiling 3. What a country. Let's invest in saving lives, not bombs. That's according to President John Dramani Mahama. The Chronicle, AI must be demystified. Teaching alone is not enough. Dr. Brian Champon tells educators. In Tim Fojo criticizes desecration of national monument by gay people. Family of missing NDC organizer petitions party. Veteran journalist Ebo Kwanzaa. Oh, it's no more. Oh, may he rest in peace. The Custodian says Tokunu exposes enemies of rule of law. Kufuor warns NPP against religious and tribal bigotry. Zoomlion expands management expertise to Burkina Faso. GJ election. Jumfo outlines 5-pillar agenda for second term, and veteran journalist Ebo Kwanzaa passes on. Also, it's on the front page. May he rest in peace. The Ghanaian Publisher. Zoomlion accelerates Africa expansion, launches Burkina Waste Project. Apenyoma King questions Mohammed's priorities. Jumfo unveils GJ re-election agenda. Reverend Ntim Fojo slams monument desecration. I'll marshal every effort to defend myself. Justice Tokunu and Swag mourns former President Ebo Kwanzaa. The Informer. Harina Esiedun Ketia divided over EC boss dismissal. OSP on warpath grabs more in SML GRA $500 million scandal. DJ elections, June 4 rise, wave of national support. My attempted removal politically motivated. Justice Tokuno, but government refutes claims. Zoomlion spreads tentacles to Burkina Faso and stop the religious tribal campaign. Kufuor warns the NPP. So these are some stories on the front pages of various newspapers. You can find them on newsstands. Alternatively, they are online. You can log on and read on them. You can find stories on starfm.com.gh. We have a lot of stories. Please log on and read on these stories and more, these news and more. My name is Lily Mohammed. I take a break. When I return, it's Friday. The usual suspects are here. You're welcome back to the show. This is still GH Today here on GHOne TV. It's Friday, it's time for the breakfast review, and you know the usual suspects are here. This morning, I've been joined in studio by Elvis Darko. He is the managing editor for the News Center newspaper. Audu Mahama is managing editor for the Custodian newspaper. And our very own Ibrahim Alasan, he is the managing head of political desk. He's the head of political desk here at EIB and my manager here on the show. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
How are we doing?
We're good.
It's good to have you, as always.
Yeah.
Now, how was your week? Elvis, how was your week?
Oh, I think it's normal. I think that from Monday till today, a lot of things have happened. Yeah.
Yes.
For a media person who is always searching for news, when there's a lot of good information in the system, at least your pressure is down. You are not under any pressure to go and be searching for. So I think the week, media-wise, is good. And I think that economy-wise too, at least the fear of what Iran and the rest would have happened, at least now that things are actually coming down. At least that fear of probably we may see fuel prices going up and the rest and changes everything. I think it's been subdued for a while. So that fear too, I think, has come down. So we hope that.
Just that, as the hostilities, the fear of hostilities have ended, the fear of delevy is coming.
You see, I have said it that I say, if we were not doing politics with taxes in this country, like, we will not be talking about some of these things. Okay, the reality is that people sit here and say America is fine, UK is fine, Germany is fine, and all that. If you talk to the people there about the level of taxation, what they pay to the state, you'll be like, then why do we complain about taxation in our part of the world? If we desire to be like them, and we are not paying what they are paying, then how do we dream to be there? Government is not a business like GHOne. Government is just an institution that depends on taxes that we all pay to it, depends on money from natural resources from this country, and possibly loans and grants. That's why government raises money.
Isn't just about people not amused about paying taxes or value for money? Because if I'm paying taxes and I feel that my taxes are not being put to better use, and then there are reports, and then you see that money siphoned, corruption here and there. Do you think people will be enthused? You see,
that's the mistake we make in our part of the world, thinking that corruption is always here. And I've told everybody that if you were following the work of GHOne in the US, about how money is legally approved, the route it goes through and returns to the pocket of politicians, you realize that what we complain about here is actually not anything new. I don't know whether we follow other countries and how public resources are spent. During COVID, we were shouting here that some money has gone somewhere. In the UK at that time, just an audit of COVID expenditure, £10 billion was spent on things that were not needed. People just shared £10 billion into their pockets in the UK over COVID. Who is shouting about it? A state agency did the investigation and realized that over £10 billion had gone into people's pockets. So sometimes we create the impression as if so long as we have pockets of corruption or reports of corruption, it means that all our money is not being used well. See, I've said it, if our own audit shows that until we did the DEP, if we had paid all the money we collect in this country, we used to pay interest on our loans, pay statutory funds, and then we pay public sector workers. Then the money is finished. So if we see whole roads around, where do we think the money is coming from? If we see hospitals, if we see schools, every other thing we see, the question you ask yourself, where is the money coming from? Government has to go and borrow. So I'm saying that sometimes the only problem we have with corruption here, and that's why we complain, is that the way the Western countries will make sure that people who are found guilty get punished in our part of the world, we don't really see that much. Look, the banking sector collapsed, people didn't go to jail. I've read about banking sector issues in America, and the people wasted more money than what we are talking about. Nobody went to jail. Systems are such that we are behaving as if we are different from the rest of the world. But the truth is that we are not different. We are the same countries. The same issues affect all of us. So if we stop politicizing issues of taxation, but we make people understand that taxation is part of life. If you are complaining about the corruption, we agree we need to work on that. But the level of taxation in this country, we believe that it needs to go up. Okay. But if it doesn't go, it's not about whether it's MPP who brought it or NDC who brought it. But it is about whether we need the taxation and what we need to use it for. If we depoliticize it, people to come to understand that, so if we are talking about roads, it is we, the people, who must finance it. If we are talking about hospital, we have to finance it.
Okay.
Everything we want the country.
Now that you mentioned politicization, let's talk about the Chief Justice. She says her removal process.
So none of us will talk about what is happening.
But you tell your turn.
How their week went.
And that week, how his week went has become a topic. How your week went has become a topic of taxation.
I will do.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the CJ. She's finally spoken. She's spoken to the people of Ghana. She says that what has been done to her is unconstitutional, is a violation of her rights. Government has responded saying that cannot be the case. And now there are claims of breach of Article 146.
Well, anybody who follows me, that means I'm a non-conformist. So I support non-conformists in everything. So we need people who should stand up.
I think
that brings change.
You are not a conformist.
You
are just
we must support people who will stand against the system, okay? And then out of that, we will make drastic changes. That is how we progress. If all of us have to subdue ourselves to everything because it is written in the Constitution, okay, we are never going to make any meaningful progress. Because if nothing new is happening, it means that we'll only be doing the same thing all the time. And excuse me, they're saying that it's only a fool who will keep doing the same things and expect a different result.
Yeah.
The issue of breach of article, whatever they are talking about, I think those who are raising the issue have no point. The reason being that she went to the Supreme Court, okay, complaining about things including violation of her rights. And the Supreme Court is shut up. So what else do you expect her to do? The only forum she can go to is the Supreme Court. That's the last resort. Yeah. And she went there, the court say, keep quiet. So she has no other option but to come to the public. And for me, I think that her coming to the public is good. If you ask Awudu, initially people say, the woman should resign. I said she should never resign. See, when this happening, I
am also of the first view she should never
people
resign.
Should resign. I said, no. People must fight the system. Okay, now people say, then Charlotte Osa was quiet. I said, unfortunately for her, I don't know whether whoever advised her that she decided not to fight the system. But today somebody is fighting the system. Now we are all realizing that, then Charlotte Osa could have also fought the system. So then the woman is opening her eyes that if you are working with an institution, something is happening you are not happy about, don't just close your mouth and say, it is written in the Constitution. Some time ago, slavery was written in Constitution in country that it's illegal. It is very legal for people to buy human beings and sell. It took some people to stand up and say, this thing cannot be entertained. And today we all say slavery is illegal. Those of us who were being sold at that time, we were not happy about it. But in their laws, in their account, they said it is legal for people to go and buy human beings to come and sell. So the fact that something is written in the Constitution does not mean that somebody cannot say that looking at what is happening, I think that Constitution, okay, and get the issues to the public, for the public to know that this is what I'm being taken through. If the CJ had kept quiet, had not spoken, all that she's been taken through, how will the public get to know? And whatever the outcome is, we will just say, she was taken through a process. As to whether that process was fair to her, if she had not complained about the thing, how will the public get to know that the system is being used in a way that, even if you compare us to her own assessment, breaches every single rule of justice delivery? How will we get to know? I'm happy that she's putting it out there. And I know that there are a lot of people in the system and the government itself. It's not comfortable because, see, that press conference is very, very powerful. Because, see, whatever she's put out there, she listed what is happening and why she thinks that those things are not being done properly. Is it beyond the borders of Ghana? Beyond the borders of Ghana. People are reading. Governments are reading. Powerful decision makers in the world will all look at what the woman is saying. They will get a chance to read her press release, whatever she read. And they will also look at it and say, but if I'm a human being and this is the way I'm being treated, will I complain or not? And I think that is why the government quickly came out to respond, because they realized that what the woman has raised, there are very legitimate issues the woman has raised. Okay? There are very legitimate issues she has raised. So the question is, if she has legitimate, we think that, because the Constitution simply says whether the process is flawed or not, we are going to apply it to her. But after we remove her, then we will correct the issues that we think are flawed in the Constitution, so that that's happened to a future Chief Justice. If this is the way we are going about things. Then so for me, I think that when people stand up against systems, though naturally, majority of the people will not support you, okay? Because they will think that you are being a deviant. Why are you opposing this? Why do you think this is wrong? In the long run, you realize that that person's single decision will now inure to the benefit of the whole country, because whatever happens at the end of the day, even the justices that will be sitting on cases in future will be guided by some of the things that she has raised. So for me, I'm happy that she's brought the issues to the fore for every Ghanaian to know that this is the way I'm being treated. If somebody accuses me that Elvis is a thief, and I go to court, and the judge says, they say, I will not hear from the person who accuses Elvis. But the person who accuses Elvis, that he will call other people to come and testify. I'm a normal human, I'm not a judge, I'm not anything. But I ask myself, how will I look at judge who's taking that decision? That the person who level accusation against me, instead of me facing the person in court to question the person and cross-examine the person, the judge said, no, the person who level accusation against, no, you don't have the chance to cross-examine the person. Okay. But the person said there are other people that will be called as witnesses. I don't even get the head and tail of such a decision, that I will not have the chance to face my accuser during the committee hearing. How does this really inure to justice delivery in this country? How does it protect the woman's right? So as for me, people say she's breached the whole Article 1 force, they talk about that. Who is it protecting? It's supposed to protect the person who is being accused, right? And the person said, I'm the one whose reputation you think will be destroyed. That's what the Constitution says. The thing should not be public. I'm saying that I am actually forgoing all those protections. Let us see the truth of the issue. Okay? Today, if I ask you, what is the premier facet case being used for that sitting, you can't tell me. Because you don't know, I don't know. Because the government and the committee that is investigating have not made us aware that out of 10 allegations against her, maybe we found 1 or 2 that has some merit. And therefore, that is what she's answering. We don't know. So the assumption is that all the lump up allegations against her, she's guilty of all. That's why she's facing a committee. So as we sit here, none of us can say that this is the specific reason that she's what? Being called. But if you are arrested or you are taken to court, what is the first thing that will be done to you? Your charges will be read to you as to what specific crimes you are said to have committed. Because that is what you'll be answering to. So if she is facing a committee and she doesn't know the basis of a premier fascicate, and she's saying, how are you asking me to be answering questions when I don't know the specific issues that have been used to determine the premier fascicate? And as at that time, she still has not been told that among all the allegations leveled against her, the committee is dealing with this 1, 2, 3, because they are the ones that have been used to determine the price. So these are the specific ones you are answering. She doesn't know. So when she's coming to the public, she has to come with all the issues. If she knew that this is the specific one that is being used against me, then when she's even coming to a press conference, she would have addressed those specific ones. But now we have created the impression that she's guilty of all the issues because all the issues are what are being used against. Because we don't know that after the Council of State sat and looked at the whole petition, they decided that this one or that one is what has been used. And I always said that there were several allegations against her. Bottom line, when the committee's report finally was published, what did they say? They said breach of procurement law, and that she terminated the contract properly awarded by the tender committee and re-awarded the contract without going to the tender committee. Until that report came out, We didn't know which of the allegations that were used to determine the prima facie case against her. And I think that when we say people's rights should not be violated, these things that the woman has really outlined, forget that she's a Chief Justice. Ask yourself that you are just another Ghanaian, and this allegation and this is the way you are being treated. How will you feel? Will you think that the justice delivered is being fair to you? If they apply to me, I will never think that they are being fair to me.
Okay.
Because I don't know what I'm answering. Now you pull me, and the whole public is sitting there thinking that every single allegation that has made in the public domain, I'm guilty of it. That's why I'm answering. Why do we do that? And I said, this country was framed at the time that there's no social media. It was framed at the time that a lot of changes we see today have not been there. So maybe they say the spirit and letter of the Constitution. That one, we have to look at the spirit and letter again, because now things have changed. How things are done.
Yeah.
The CJ at the time, if not for social media, probably none of us would have seen the petition.
Okay.
But we still saw the petition on social media.
Right. Audu.
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning.
This thing, see what the CJ did the last on the press briefing, think that should prick the conscience of all the people who are involved in this whole process, from the president down to the committee and the Supreme Court judges that threw out her supplementary affidavit. What she did on that press briefing should prick their conscience to know that for the first time in the history of this country, how many years are we since we gained independence? 68?
More than 60 years.
69?
68 years. No CJ has been taken through this process. If you are going to take a CJ through a process like this,
Oh, yes, this year was 68, yes.
you are going to take CJ through a process like this that has never been taken before. At least you go through due process. If you are, as Elvis said, if you are facing a tribunal, court process or all that, the first thing the prosecution will tell you is your charges. And you prepare your defense, those charges. Now, the president and the Council of State said that, or the president, I say that the ultimate thing actually rests with the president. He has taken this decision. It's not anybody, because he's a president who has determined this, because other presidents have received similar, similar petitions, and they do not see, they've not done this before, and he's the first person to be doing it. And if you are doing it to somebody who is the head of the third arm of government, at least you should be at least fair to that person, that individual. Now, you say you have found a prima facie case, and based on that, you have suspended her. She then goes before a committee that you have set up. First of all, the presidency, the Council of State, you have found a prima facie case against her. You don't tell her the issues you have used, the ingredients for finding the prima facie case. You have handed over everything to the committee that you have set up to investigate her, to probe her. The committee doesn't tell her anything about the cases. I've heard people say that, there are many allegations and she has responded to all of them. Are we saying that all the allegations made by the petitioners warrant her removal? Because we should know these specific allegations that have been put forward by the petitioners are so grave that will cause a removal of not less a person than a chief justice of a country. She should know that. And she goes to the committee. The committee members will not tell her the issues. And she's there, omnibus, everything. Then how is she going to defend herself? Now she goes to the Supreme Court, challenging the matters that are before the committee, that she's being treated unfairly against her human rights. Then her own colleagues, 5 of them at the Supreme Court, says that because the matters are under Article 146 and the hearings are in camera, she has rather violated Constitution by coming before the court. And therefore, her case should be dismissed because and that's you just mentioned that people are saying that she has violated Article 146.
146, yeah.
And I'm saying that, look, the matters, I asked this question some time ago on this same show. If any of those 5 judges who threw her case out, if they were to face similar proceedings, similar hearing, and they were being subjected to what the woman is saying she's being subjected to, where were they supposed to go to get ahead? Where were they supposed to go? If the highest court of the land cannot protect the human rights and dignity of people, especially their head, you and I, where can we go if we are facing similar problems? Now, I think that what is going on is so unfair that everybody is saying that I hear people say the law is a law because she has stated that the law is a law. The law is a law when you are actually following the due process, following the law. You cannot contravene the law and say that the law is a law. Which law are you talking about? Is it the violation of the law that is a law? And I think what is going on is we are violating the human rights of the Chief Justice for not even telling her what is causing what you are saying that should be used to remove her from office. And I think that is so unfair. Now, a lot of allegations have been thrown out against her. That one of the issues, because most of the things are those that are personal to her, are virtually about 2 issues. But the rest are cases that she handled with some of the judges who are handling this matter, who are in this matter. And how can a head of an institution, together with others, being asked to be sacked when her colleagues are there actually aiding the process for her removal? I think that is unconscionable. And those people should prick their conscience. That we have all sat on matters, and those matters have been determined by the court, and those matters are being used against her. And nobody is thinking about that. This is not fair to her. Now, if you come to the specific matters about herself, the allegation that she traveled,
with her
and
husband,
she traveled and came back, she did not retire
the Impress
and all that. And government official came out today that because she only retired the Impress when she was caught. And that turned out to be palpable false. The man said that she was given $14,000. She went and spent only $4,400. Is that not it? And she came 2 days later, she retired, she returned the money and gave $9,600 back to the state. I do not see any, including, I want to see even the current, you see, sometimes when you say this, people may think that you are personal. I am not personal in this matter because this is a serious matter that may, if we don't take care, it will throw this country into the levels that we all will not like. The current, the current chairman of the Council of State has been speaker before. He has traveled on several occasions. Can we find out how many times he traveled and retired his Impress? And yet, because we are not told the cases that have been used against her to fight Primaries, this has been included as one of the cases. Now, she has done that, and that has been flatly thrown out, that it is not true. We know that that is not true. Because she has said it. The presidency or the committee has not told us this is part of the reasons why she's been tried. And now we are here, the woman has to come out. If she had not said it, we have known. Based on the lies that people are peddling around, that she did not retire. Now she has done it. Now, about her traveling with her husband and then the daughter. You know, people had stated that she traveled with them at the same time, the two of them. She has now told us that on one occasion, 2 occasions that is, one occasion she traveled with the husband, and another occasion she traveled with the daughter. And not that, because according to their conditions of service, she has to see if she's traveling, at least she's entitled to travel with one person, one family member. And people say that, why? The thing is that she should travel with her bodyguard or security person. She should not travel alone. If I am given a condition to travel with somebody, and I decided my security person, I will use my husband What is wrong with that? I do not see any of these people, the Speaker of Parliament, and then how many times do they travel with their security? Do they even travel with their security?
No, they don't.
They don't. They go travel with their daughters and their wives and children. When they come, they don't even retire anything. All the speakers, except maybe the first, I don't know, maybe Justice Annan, I don't know. But the rest, we have seen them, the way they travel extravagantly. They go out. Some people, look, if we were to give information about some of these public officials when they travel, what they do, the money they spend on our tax, the taxpayers' money they spend at the expense of the taxpayers, we will not be talking about these issues. Now, that one too has been clearly debunked, because it has come out that on those occasions she's traveled with one person. The first one she traveled with the husband, and the second one she traveled with the daughter, and that is clearly within her conditions of service, Article 79 office holders, 71 office holders. And she, for God's sake, she's the head of the third arm of government. And if all these matters are before a committee, and the committee doesn't headed by one of her colleagues, cannot protect her, cannot be fair, at least be fair. If you are removing her on charges, those charges must be clearly stated before her. And you are doing all this and you are not stating these charges, and the woman is there, and everybody, we are all there. She doesn't know the charges, and everybody is just saying that, look, the woman, why should you? I've listened to very senior lawyers and say that she has no right to do what she's doing because she's violating the Constitution. For God's sake, it is not fair. Okay. It is not fair for people to subject it to this kind of inhumane treatment. And I think that this is, as we say, this is man's inhumanity to man. But in this instance, man's inhumanity to woman. It is not fair. And if you go this way, this country, as she said, we will have judges who are supposed to be independent, fearless, and all that. Even when you are taking decision, you will think that if I take this decision one day, it will be used against me. So how are judges going to? How are they going to operate? If we have issues in this country, the first place we go is to seek justice in court. Then if the justice, where we go to seek justice, there's no justice, even for the head of that institution, where do we go as a country?
Well, this is not the first time we are talking about this matter here. And so I will not repeat some of the points we've made in the past relative to the content of the petition, and that's why the committee was put together, right? And so the best forum to have yourself exonerated or to provide befitting answers to those questions will be at the hearings of the committee. Mind you, this is a committee, this is not a commission. And so sometimes when people are making comments on this, the expectation of the committee is as if the committee is a commission, which will have powers that could be the same powers as that of the High Court. But this one is a committee.
It does.
No, I'm coming. This one is a fact-finding committee. Now, per Article 146, the Chief Justice is entitled to a legal representation. The question is, has that been the case or not? Now, the Chief Justice and some of the claims she makes is that her husband was not allowed to sit in there with her. There's a reason why the Article 146 doesn't talk about an entourage or a delegation or a team or a group. Imagine the Constitution saying that everything pertaining to this process should be held in camera. But for some strange reason, the committee says you can come with your children, your grandchildren, your mother, your father, and your husband. That in-camera provision will be violated. And that's why I think that request that let me get emotional support from my husband could have been turned down. Because this is supposed to be an in-camera hearing. You are the subject matter of this conversation. you are entitled to a legal representative. In fact, she has 3. 1, 2, 3. From Gov't Dame to Aikwe to all former Attorney General, and then one other senior lawyer. If she wants more lawyers, I'm sure she will be afforded the opportunity to employ the services of more lawyers. The point I'm making is that when we are making such applications, we must also be cognizant of the provisions of the Constitution.
Yeah.
That's one. She talks about the venue. To be honest, for a moment I was with her when I heard Osu Castle. You know the stories we heard from the Osu Castle. So when I heard Edu Lodge, I thought it was a dungeon within the castle. I know the Osu Castle. I've been there. In fact, there are other agencies that currently operate from the castle. So I've been there. I thought this was a dungeon, to be honest with you, until her address 2 days ago.
Then you had to go search for the Edu Lodge, which was commissioned by President Akufo-Addo.
It's just like the Peduase Lodge, where the president can sleep there, ministers can sleep there, conferences can be held there. So I was shocked, to be honest with you. Honestly, I was with her on that when she first raised issue relative to the location. That if it's the Osu Castle, maybe a dungeon somewhere where Rollins did his things or many other things, right? And then I get to know this. To be honest, with what I know about the location, the argument doesn't hold water at all relative to the location. It doesn't.
But the location holds some sentimental value to her.
That's not even the castle. Unless you're talking about the fact that it's located closer to the sea or closer to the Independence
But she
Square.
says her uncle was murdered in that same vicinity.
Okay, no problem. So
no murder, the planning for the murder was.
So that's where
she was abducted
at the Edu Lodge,
not
the castle proper, but the lodge. This lodge.
That's
That's
not what she said.
No,
she said the planning
was done at the castle.
At the place.
Because this Edu Lodge is a new. Okay.
No, it's renovated.
Yes, it's been renovated.
It's not.
No, I get that.
It's a renovated.
Exactly. So it's a lodge that was renovated for the use of the executive or the president, just like Peduase Lodge, just like what exists at Akosombo that has now been abandoned on the hilltop.
Yeah.
I get that. Now let's put that one aside. But I still disagree that the facility as a test, right, is so scary and so intimidating that you cannot provide answers. But let's put that one aside. The other one had got to do with her choice of location that ought to have taken place within the confines of the judiciary. That I totally disagree as well. See, all the processes that have been triggered relative to individuals of the Superior Court and their removals, they've all been triggered with the Chief Justice as the supervisory head. Because we've never been to a point where Article 146 will be triggered in this manner, bordering on the Chief Justice. So this exercise is not being undertaken by the judiciary, Tom. This exercise is for the executive. So the location will have to be a place belonging to the executive. And we are told now that it was the committee that requested that this is the place that they want.
I see.
Yeah, of course. Felix Kwachu has made that public, that it was the committee that requested for this location. And it talks about its secured nature and the facilities available there. Nonetheless, if the Chief Justice felt threatened and then had applied to the committee, I'm sure that the committee will have considered the request on its merits. And as it stands now, the hearings are still being held. It means that the committee turned down that request. Of course, the Chief Justice is allowed to complain about it. Now, with the address in totality, I, as a media person, I needed news. So I was okay with the fact that she decided to talk. Yes, she gave us content. So I hold no qualms against her. In that regard, relative to my work as a journalist, and the fact that Ghanaians, for more than 1 hour, got to hear from her for the first time. But what does the law say? And that's where the lawyers are saying that when they say something should be held in camera, it means that everything about that process should be held in camera. I can tell you that nothing happened to the Chief Justice because of what she did. Because as it stands now, the Constitution doesn't even provide remedy for such things. Because we've never been here. If you look at Article 146, and that's how come the justices at the Supreme Court, in their own wisdom, said we must have a workable process. Yes, the provision is there, but let's develop claims against the findings. And we, as individuals with brains in our heads, can come to a conclusion on our own, right?
Sure.
That's the point. So the process is ongoing. It will truncate at the point. That's how come many people had felt that she could have held on. Let the process terminate. And then address us with the full facts as to what existed and what has been provided by the committee.
But she says the process in itself is fraught with violations. Why should she sit and wait till the entire process is over?
Lily, you and I have to sit here. If genuinely want to help Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Tokonu, we want to help her genuinely. How do we help her? There is no process whatsoever for you and I, the ordinary Ghanaians, to help her. The process that can help her is enshrined in the Constitution. And she has actually triggered them. As we speak, she's at the High Court again. Because her fundamental human rights, in her opinion, have been violated. So she has triggered the process. That is the only way she can get remedy. If we genuinely even want to help her, as the process is ongoing, we cannot. We don't have the power to. Yes, we can sympathize with her. But it ends there. That's the point. That the process is ongoing. Whether we like it or not, whether she likes it or not, the process has been triggered. It has to terminate at the point. But unfortunately, the committee cannot brief us as a nation because per Article 146, the committee is not supposed to make public its proceedings. Nonetheless, she has spoken. And it's good she has spoken. Let the committee's work terminate. We'll place what she told us against what the committee is going to tell us. But in all this, my fear is that even if she returns, it will be practically impossible for her to work.
Why? Why?
Okay. Did you hear what she said about her own colleagues on the committee? 2 of them. Did you hear what she said about the 5 of them who rejected her application at the court?
They don't need to be friends.
Add them, that will be 7.
They don't need to be
and
friends.
There will be more because there could be new processes. The point I'm making is that
they don't need to
it's
be
not just about being
together.
friends. It's about you saying that your own colleagues are aiding a system, right, that has been premeditated, orchestrated, and well schemed to get you out. She said that.
I shared this value even long before she said it. I shared
That's the
this
point.
value the last
No,
time.
you're not getting me.
I shared
I'm
this
saying,
value.
I agree with you. I'm saying that.
Please allow him.
I'm saying that if you say that 7 of your colleagues, 7 so far, are aiding and abetting a scheme, a grand agenda, calculated, well fashioned out, schemed to get you out, and you succeed in staying put, and you return, and you think you can work with them as if nothing happened? That's the point I'm making.
Let the law decide that.
Exactly. Thanks for corroborating the point I'm making. That the law will decide. But the actions we have taken before the decision is taken makes it practically impossible for you to work with the team.
Okay.
And makes it difficult.
Are we then saying that if she would not be able to work, because based on the fact that you are saying that she will not be able to work with the team and therefore she should go?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that, and if there's anybody at this table who has consistently insisted that after the process is done, the Chief Justice can return to her job, it's me. I said that people have made allegations against you. Somebody looks at those allegations and comes to the determination that there are questions for you to answer. That's the prima facie. There are questions for you to answer. It doesn't say you are guilty. Now you have to appear before a committee and answer the questions. But in the process, you are dragging everybody down. After you have successfully answered the questions, how are you going to mend those relationships?
Look, then you should be asking politicians when they campaign and they are in the same party, they work together.
Tell you that they are not friends.
They are not. But must they be friends as judges to work together?
No.
There's a need for
There's
that
need for what?
unity.
It's based on law. The judge.
Who is going to empanel?
I'm coming. That's not even the issue I want to raise. That's not even the issue I want to raise. Look, all the matters that have been raised about Edu Lodge, about this, I think those are matters of no consequence.
Yeah.
For me, the important matter of high consequences actually the prima facie issues. Those are the issues that we should be talking about, and not Edu Lodge. She herself, I think they are for emotional effects. But the real matters that every Ghanaian should be thinking about is about the issues that prima facie issues that we are not privy to. She herself is not privy. Those are the issues. And this thing about she's gone to High Court. High Court, she's in High Court. She herself said that. And I'll say that, look, what are the matters that she's taking to court? Is it not based on what is happening at the committee level? If the highest court of the land, her own colleagues, 5 of them, say that those matters cannot be brought here, do you think the High Court will entertain her?
They are different.
Which ones are different?
She invoked the original jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. This one, she says her fundamental human rights have been violated.
Based on where? Emanating from where?
Let's hear. We can't preempt what the High Court judge will say.
You see, I'm not a lawyer, but this is common sense.
No.
Look,
two different.
I'm coming.
The original jurisdiction of the High Court, when they talk about human rights violations, is the High Court. And it's actually stopped there.
Where are those human rights violations emanating from? Where are they emanating from? Is it not from the...
No, it's the process.
You see,
it's a process.
I know you are talking of process. I am saying that her human rights violations that she's talking about are emanating from the committee hearings.
Yes.
And if you say that even at the Supreme Court, she said that those things should be in camera and therefore she should not be heard. You think the High Court will say that they will hear the matter because they are human rights? They will not consider the fact that it is in camera here and that those matters should not be heard.
I by that inferring that even in the High Court,
I'm only asking a question. I am saying that if the highest court of the land is saying that those matters that she was complaining about at the court, at the apex court, are matters that should not be public. They are matters of in camera before a committee, and she's been thrown out. Those human rights violations that she has now taken to High Court, grand scheme. I say it is a grand scheme to remove this woman. If this whole thing is put together, this woman will go tomorrow, will go today or tomorrow. Tomorrow. I have said that if you say that the Supreme Court has said that the processes for the removal of the CJ, the process is so opaque that we needed clarity. We needed clarity, the guidelines for the process. You are saying that the former president who was supposed to lead the charge did not do it. Probably it is because of its opaque nature that she did not find prima facie, because it would be unfair to use this unfair process to remove a CJ. That is probably the reason why you'll be unfair to the person you want to remove. That's why they have not. Now, if you say that you use this opaque process to remove the current CJ and now go to Parliament to be able to streamline the process, I think that you are not being fair to the current one. Okay. I have said that if the Constitution cannot protect the current CJ, even if they say a constitutional instrument or regulation showing the procedures for which you can remove CJ, that the constitutional instrument cannot protect a future CJ.
Why must we protect?
It's not about protection.
No, you use the word protect. See, that's not what the law is supposed to do. The law is expected to be fair.
When you say the law says protection of human rights.
I'm coming.
And the freedoms of protection. The Constitution itself uses protection.
Hold on.
Why? When
we use the word protect, right, it's for a purpose. 3 individuals have petitioned the president. And that's allowed by the Constitution.
Yeah.
Now, in that process, are you saying that... I'm explaining.
The three, you are not even sure, as we say today, that the 3 even altered the petitions.
I'm explaining.
You see, apart from that, I'm not finished. Are you saying that the processes have not terminated? If the Chief Justice alluded to this, if you are saying that if they use this wrong process that she's complaining about and she's found the recommendation is that she should be removed.
On the prima facie, the Chief Justice says she's not sure that the petitions that were forwarded to her were the same petitions that the committee has.
Yes.
I found that very strange. The petitions were forwarded to the presidency.
Yes.
The presidency then forwarded the petitions to the Chief Justice.
Yes.
Now, we all preview to even the petitions, including the names of the authors of the petitions.
Yes.
Now, for the Chief Justice to say that she's not sure as to whether the petitions in her custody are the same petitions in the custody of the committee,
yes,
I find that problematic.
She
has responded to
every owner. And we said this is a fair process.
Okay.
And that she has no opportunity to even challenge them on issues of cross-examination and all that. You have been talking of committees. You have been in parliament. Even when there are committee meetings and people appear before the committees, they come with their lawyers. And they are allowed to cross-examine people who make allegations against them. Are they not allowed? Why should this be different? Why? And that a committee is headed by a Supreme Court judge will say that somebody who has made allegations against his fellow human being will not testify, will not even own up to the petitions.
No. So the person says, I will not testify. And you see, for purposes of contest.
No, I know.
Remember the Supreme Court petition. What did Jane Mensah say?
She did not.
No, she did not say anything to the court.
She said, listen.
No. These are two different things.
She's a party. And the law allows you to elect not to speak. What that does to you is that, I'm coming now.
It is only when you...
What that does to you is that if you have something to say that will aid your case and you say no, it goes against you. Yeah. If it goes in your favor, it goes in your favor. You want to tell me that the justices seated at the Supreme on the committee are not so sensible legally to say that this is an illegality, but let's still perpetuate it.
The reason why she's saying that they should testify, she wants to be sure whether the issues they are raising against her are the issues that have been brought before these two people. These people.
So have they said that the issues are different? Have they said that?
But that's what she's telling us. She doesn't know.
But we also don't know because
that's what the woman is telling us. But she doesn't know whether the issues.
Her word against
whose word?
So whose word must we listen to in this matter?
Because
everybody. We cannot listen to the victim.
In this case, we don't know what actually transpires there.
So why don't we know?
Why don't we know? Why should we know? So.
But the proceedings are held.
That's why I asked you.
But that's why I'm saying that
if you go to court, you see, you are arrested, go to court. Are you not told that this is your crime? This is what you are answering for.
Yes.
So why is that the chief judge cannot be told that this is what you are answering for? If she's answering for all the allegations,
if she doesn't know what she's speaking to.
Please. People are confusing the things.
Okay.
The fact that the petition has been forwarded to her to respond to is different from which of the petition has been used to determine the criminal prosecution. Her case is that you forwarded a petition to me, I've responded to all. Now, I've responded to all. Now, you are saying that I should go and face the committee. Out of all the allegations and the response, which ones did you use to determine the criminal prosecution?
The committee not ask her questions.
You understand it?
Will the committee not ask her questions?
It's not about that.
It's not about asking questions. This omnibus thing asks her questions about what?
If my ISB position means that all the allegations she responded are all that she's supposed to go and face. Is that what we have been told? She's not saying that she didn't receive the petitions. She says that you gave me accusation against me. I have responded. You said Council of State has sat on the petitions and my responses. Now they found a premier facility. I want to know, out of all the accusations, which of them did you use to determine a premier facility? How is this difficult? How is this difficult to tell? If you say you have used all, tell me that all the allegations, I've rejected all your responses. Every single thing I have against you is true. So you come and answer. Then she's clear. If you use 2 or 3 of the allegations, she knows that it's 2 or 3. But here's the case.
Response is directed.
Yes. That's the point. But now, you give me allegations, I've responded. There's no feedback to me that, based on your response, we have... That is all that she's saying. Okay. So all this thing about she responded, it's not the issue. She's not saying that she's not responded. She says she has responded. Yes. But which of my responses are inadequate? For which reason you used those allegations to find a premier facility for me to come and answer there, I know. If you say all the allegations against me, all my responses are bogus. So I'm answering all the allegations. Let me know. What is so difficult about this? And then I made a case that the CJ made issues against her fellow. So it is, you see, we have to difference between something being personal and something being legal.
Yes.
The CJ made legal accusations, argument against...
Including scheming?
Against fellow... Which one is scheming?
Oh, the throwing out of the case. She actually warned her colleagues that if you think that it's me that has fallen short, reason why I'm being dealt this way, yours is coming. Did you hear her?
No, that's not the case. I don't see how his position is going to change from what I've decided. And therefore, I think that person being on the committee is not fair. What is wrong with it? It's a matter of legality. It's not about because the CJ has something personal against the judge. So the issues the CJ has raised, some of the judges' colleagues, it's not about he having anything personal against them. It's saying that based on law, I think this one is not right that this person sits on the committee. What is wrong with that? Even if you go to a court, you have the right to say, this judge that is sitting on my case, I think because of ABCD, you can apply for the judge to be changed. Does it not happen? Opuni's case, Opuni was able to get the judge changed, right? He said the judge, based on ABC, I think the judge is biased towards me. I want to change based on law. Opuni didn't go to the judge because he hates the judge as a person. He identified things that I think legally the judge has done, that he thinks that it does not merit the judge sitting on the case. And it's normal for people to go to court and say, this judge, I think that ABC is the judge. It's based on law. It's not because you have anything as a person against the person. It's not personal. So the argument of the CJ pointing out legal flaws about things other colleagues he thinks were involved in and think that legally, it doesn't make it right for those people to sit on the committee. It doesn't mean that the CJ personally has an issue with them. It's based on the position of law. And see, so far since the press conference, I've never heard anybody challenge or respond adequately to the issues he has raised. The issue is that, why did you bring so and so lodge into it? Okay, now that you've made a press conference, you breach Article 146, and that is ground to remove you. So the critical issues that she's raised in the press conference, I've not heard any government response did not attach that. The government only response is that, it's not political. Look, this country, we have to be careful. If not, today it favors one person, so we are happy. But tomorrow, and if we are not careful, we'll be going down the drain to a point. By the time we realize that we are in the gutter, it is too late. Look, CJ has this thing is happening, and I've said it after, and I'll say it today. After CJ's press conference, I've not heard from Ghana Bar Association to say these violations that this woman says or this legal point is made. We as a legal association, we think that on this issue, the CJ has a point. On these issues, we disagree. I've not heard from the Ghana Bar Association. The Judicial Service.
Magistrate.
I've not heard.
Magistrate and
the Association of Magistrate and Judges, which the CJ is part of. Since this case has started, you've never heard anything about them. It's like everybody is just mute over an issue.
Not because this borders on legality, so they want to.
But the woman is raising legal issues. What is wrong with it?
But
no.
So the
fact that legal issue doesn't mean that they are well grounded.
Whatever is happening, whatever is transmitted, they are not privy to. What do they respond to?
The woman has
only hers. They should respond to only hers. Because I've not heard from the other side. Please, have you heard from the committee?
Please don't muddy the issues. The issue that the woman has raised.
The
woman has raised legal issues. Legal bodies can respond to it. That if the committee wants to respond, they can respond. If they try not to respond, but if somebody has said this thing based on law is wrong. Why you think the Ghana Bastion can say this? Why is the Ghana Bastion?
No,
I want to ask. No. I want to ask.
How do I react?
No, how do you tell me that the Bar Association, before they react on any issue, they get the other side of the issue? They look at the legal basis. Legal basis has no side. No, if you are telling me that, please, if somebody says this thing has been done to me, based on what it is wrong. Yeah. What is wrong with you saying that if that has been happened, then it's wrong?
You go to court. And the person has gone to court. The court has given a judgment.
Which judgment? The judgment says what? What does the judgment say?
That it is in camera and therefore she should not
So simply because the issue is in camera.
When you zero in...
When your source brings you information, you run with it.
You verify.
But if there is...
Thank you.
No, but
Lily.
With information...
No. Is what you are saying is not the case.
Lily.
I am saying that this thing has been done to me. I provide the evidence. It is wrong. You have to hear for somebody to say that what the person... Are you saying that... No, are you saying that you hear from somebody and appoint the law to you? You cannot use the law.
Especially with regard to a G-Mensa.
Okay, let me make some money and then when I come back, we can continue. Let me go for a quick break. Come back shortly. also GH today here on GHOne TV. I am Lily Mohammed. Is the weekly review segment of the breakfast show, and my guests are still seated. Elvis Dakwa, Audu Muhammad, and Ibrahim Alassan. We're talking about the CJ breaking her silence on her removal of process, which she states is unconstitutional. They've made their submissions, but I want to touch on a different subject. Unfortunately, I don't have enough time. We've spent more than 30 minutes talking about the CJ. Let's talk about the PURC's announcement of adjustment in tariffs upwards, 2.45% for electricity. Water remains stable.
Plus, the first one was how much? 14 point.
14. Yes.
14 point something.
Yes, 14%.
Almost 15%, 14.7.
And this one is 2%.
2.4. No,
and
at 4.45 is enough. It's big. Don't just.
I know. I'm only stating the data. CATS International is raising concerns, saying that this is unfortunate and that PRC is being unfair. Ivy, let me start with you since.
So did that come to me as a surprise? Yes, really it did.
Why?
Because of the strengthened Cedi and the fact that crude oil prices were plummeting until Israel decided to do what it did in Iran. That got the prices rise above 70. But as we speak, it's down below 70 again. And so the 2 weeks window, I was not sure was enough to trigger an increment. But I heard Dr. Obute, who speaks for PURC, explain. And of course, we exacted those same answers from him. He talks about the fact that it's in line with the quarterly adjustment. And that's part of the IMF deal, right? But when they looked at the parameters, they realized that even though the Cedi had been stable fairly, the percentage should have been higher. So what it did was to reduce the percentage or the quantum of increment to the 2.45%. But when it comes to water, they realized that it had evened off. So the cost of production, as against how much tariffs we are paying for water, had evened itself out. So therefore, there was no need for any upward adjustment. But when it came to electricity, there's some 50 million debt that must be paid. And to them, this is the best option. I remember hearing him answer the question as to whether if the D-levy had kicked in, whether that would have made any difference. And he said, no, this is PURC and its own mechanism. Government has its own mechanism of raising funds. So if government had implemented D-levy, maybe that could have gone to pay the debt in the sector differently. But what they are looking at is that debt that must be paid immediately. See, you might think that 2.45% is negligible, but it's not. It's not in nominal terms. And so, yes, we all will have wished that as the benefit we are getting from the stable Cedi at the pumps, at the prices in the market, when some traders, who we can call them patriotic, have decided to at least let the final consumer get some benefit from the stable Cedi and then also other macroeconomic stable indicators. We would have wished that at least if we were not going to get a reduction in electricity tariffs, we didn't pay more. But here's the reality. Hopefully, as the Iran-Israel war has now been dealt with.
It's not, has it?
Oh, yes, largely. In terms of its impact on food. I see, that's the thing. It's a never-ending... It's a never-ending development.
As for the
but it had never
always...
escalated. It had never escalated to the levels we saw, and that's the reality. And hopefully, it never escalates to that level. Imagine if the Strait of Hormuz had been closed.
Yes. And its impact on everybody.
Exactly. And so once that stream has been open and it still remains open, why not? Hopefully, the next quarterly review. PURC, once the indicators are much more stable, we will not just have a no movement upwards, but of course a reduction. Why not? But trust me, this is a hardship that has been inflicted on Ghanaians, and there are no ifs or buts about that. Yeah.
You see, under normal circumstances, this should not be a problem, because I have always said that the only way, there are just a few sources that government makes revenue, gets resources to do what we want them to do. Raise taxes, they borrow, and that's all. They generate money internally. And the only way government generates money internally is to raise taxes. How does government generate money, income? Taxes. But this has become political because of politicians, the way politicians behave. And as IB said, under normal circumstances, we should also be enjoying the windfall because we have suffered for a long time. And now that we are beginning to enjoy the windfall, PRC thinks that we should we should give part of our listening to them. But me, I've said that, look, we cannot be doing politics all the time with these matters.
Sure.
I would prefer, I have said it many times and I continue to say it, I would prefer to pay a little more to get my power to do what I want to do than to pay less and not get electricity at all. This has been my view, my belief all the time. And therefore, under normal circumstances, this should not be a problem. But as I said, the politicians have always created problems for themselves. And even when the arbiter like PURC acts, politics will come in. Now MPP have jumped in to say that this is unfair. They seem to be speaking for the ordinary Ghanaian. And when they were in government, NDC was speaking for ordinary, supposedly was speaking for ordinary Ghanaians. Now MPP supposedly is speaking for ordinary Ghanaians. That's the game they've been playing. But if we all as a country will say that, look, everybody needs to sacrifice for us to get this country moving, I think this should not be a problem. This should not be a problem at all. I have said, and I'll continue to say, look, if lights, yesterday when I was going home, because of the rain, the lights went off in my area, Taifa area.
Okay. But I had stable lights. And interestingly, now when it rains, we enjoy stable lights. And so if I have to pay for that, why not?
Yes, exactly. That's my point. And that is why I have always, when it comes to taxes and all this, I have never blamed any government for it. But sometimes people question governments about the use of the money, the taxes that they collect. How do they use the money? This man, I know he will go there. There has been some toll recovery levy, debt recovery levy that we have paid all our lives. And yet that debt is still there. Where is the money going? The levy we are paying, what are they using it for? It means that they are not using it to recover, to pay the debt. And these are the issues that people begin, when such taxes are introduced, levies are introduced, people question the use of the resources. But you see, government will always find resources to put them where emergencies, they will have to get money to put them at different places. Even though the money may go, is meant for toll recovery, sometimes emergencies occur and government will have to find money to solve them. So me, I have no issues with this. Just that government, when there's a windfall, they should let us also enjoy small. And that one is what
that
everybody,
I agree, 100%.
Yes, as I was saying yesterday, I was talking about yesterday. I drove home and my whole area was dark because of the rain. They said the wind was so heavy that it actually did a lot of damage. So I then went and took gallons. I drove back to fuel station to buy fuel for my generator.
Your generator?
Yes. I came back. When I entered, I opened the gate, the lights were on. You see the inconvenience? So you see how, if our lights go off, how we run to be able to be a light and to get energy to power our whatever we do, businesses, domestic and all that. Ordinarily, this should not be a problem. And therefore, I think that they've given reasons why this current increment has been done. They said there is a debt of about 400 and something million. And this quarterly review that they talk about to IMF, let's also say that the IMF quarterly review then doesn't mean that we should always increase. When the conditions are favorable, it can either be stable or we reduce. Now they are telling us that the conditions are such that they have to increase a bit. Water has been stable. Left like that. So look, me, I think I will not do politics with it. I think that what I need is energy. Governments to ensure that there's power available for all of us. And once there's power, things go on. If there is no power, we cannot do anything in this country. Industry suffer, domestically we suffer. And I think government will just have to manage the resources well that they are getting to keep our lights on.
Right. Elvis, let me hear from you.
It's all about the way we politicize things. Okay. If you ask ECG right now, they will tell you that this increment is insufficient.
Yeah.
Okay. Every time that PURC increases tariffs, ECG will tell you if you are talking about commercial rate, then the amount determined by PURC is below commercial rate.
Yeah.
It cannot pay for the power they are selling to us. But government assumption that we are a poor country, so let's try and subsidize things for people. Let's make people, and they will use state institutions to muzzle other state institutions from being ineffective. One of the reasons ECG is not effective is because of PURC. But we don't want to say it. But PURC is part of the ECG's problems. If you are giving them rates that cannot cover their costs, how do you expect them? Do you understand? So we have done these things to ECG.
Let's look at talking about inefficiency.
And then will come. No, inefficiency is there. I'm saying it's one. One of them is the PURC issue. Say, after John Jinapoli did all the politics against MPP, and now they've come to power. Now he's telling us that liquid fuel for power generating is not part of PURC calculation in tariffs.
That's
but he knew this in opposition.
That's why dealing.
But because he wants power, he said, no, ECG should not be that situation. ECG could be better off. We are doing. He made all the noise. Now he's a minister. Now he's trying to tell us the fact that it's not because some government was not doing the right thing. It's because the reality is that what the situation is that ECG cannot be effective based on what we have. So when we take away the politics and we do the right thing, Ghanaians will understand us, okay? Yeah. But if John Jinapoli, who was Minister for Power under Mohammed won, and because his government is in opposition, will create the impression as if ECG can be self-sustaining and everything is okay, and it's the government that is mastering it in a way. And then now you are in power, you now want to tell us the same thing the previous government was telling us. How do you expect the ordinary person to sympathize with government? So politicians are the problem why Ghanaians don't sympathize with government. Sure. When they are in opposition, their narrative is different. When they are in government, the narrative is different. So that we, the people, will say, these people, they are deceiving us. Because how will you tell me this when you have a minister of the sector and you knew the problems? When you went to opposition, you said, no, it's mismanagement. But now that you are back to power, so it's not mismanagement, there's problem. And you want the ordinary Ghanaian, who you expect to pay more, to believe you. That's why people will always struggle and complain against tariffs issues. You see? And politicians think they are smart. They are not smarter. They are only creating more problems. So instead of us paying the right bill, they say, oh, don't charge so much. We are going to put a levy on petrol. What has petrol got to do with electricity? I buy fuel into my car, and I'm paying tax that's supposed to go and pay electricity debt. Why should it be so? Why don't we let me pay the right price for fuel and pay the right price for electricity? But then they think that, they are outsmarting with the people. So let's use
political experience.
Which is why we are suffering. It means that the amount we are even paying for fuel should not be what we pay, because if those taxes that are supposed to be energy sector levies are not put on petrol, and they say this is for electricity, let's fix the issue of electricity and let the people pay the right price. In advanced countries, domestic consumers pay more than industrial industries. But industry needs to be subsidized with power for them to employ you before you can pay your home electricity.
The opposite.
So if we think that we are rather going to make the domestic consumers feel like because we want their vote, instead of us telling them the truth that if you want power, power is expensive. Right. If we pay the right price, we'll have the stable power. No. Then we'll do politics, and they will come up with strategies. They will come up with all kinds of trying to hide it. Okay? Instead of increasing electricity per bill, we say, let's go and put 1 cedi on fuel and then generate money to come and pay electricity bill. Why do you have to go and put them on fuel to come and pay electricity bill? If electricity bill, let Ghanaians understand that this is the cost of generating power. Okay. This is what everybody must pay. In fuel, this is what it is. If it reduces, you enjoy it. If it goes up, you enjoy it. Ghanaians will be more happier than that. But because they think they are being smart, then they are always confusing and let's go and put some tax here, let's do this, and then they will go and do politics with it. That's why we are where we are. But the truth of the matter is that nobody should be saying that because the Cedi alone has come down. Look, the issues in the power sector, the one I've talked about PURC is one. Politicians turning ECG into procurement hub for them to make money and go and procure things that ECG doesn't need.
Lily.
It's another problem. Because
when you finish this procurement,
when you look at ECG and issues,
you can note it down if you forget.
There was a time, an auditor general report 3 years ago revealed that ECG has bought electricity meters worth over 200 million Ghana cedis. When they brought it, the meters don't work, so they just kept it in their warehouses. And then they want to go and buy a different because some politician has forced ECG to do procurement so that a politician can make money. If we don't cut politicians from influence procurement in ECG, the inefficiency of ECG will come to us. We say inefficient, ECG is inefficient. Why is it inefficient? Apart from procurement, truth is that government is the 100% owner of ECG. If you're the 100% owner of a company, you're the one who must invest in the company for it to be efficient. Go and check ECG record for the past 20 years. Apart from the US Millennium Challenge account, what significant investment has government made in ECG? None. So, a transformer has to be replaced. It's not there. Meters have to replace. They are non-functional meters. According to John Jinapor research, there are almost about 3 million meters that are malfunctioning. Okay. But they don't have the money to go and buy and come and fix. So if you are not retooling the institution to change equipment into modern ones, and you are complaining about technical losses, whose fault is it? ECG is a state-owned institution. You appoint the MD and the board and everything. You are the one supposed to put the money there for them to change the equipment for them to be effective. You don't have the money, so you don't have the, so you don't do it. But I say, by magic, the company should be efficient. How does the company become efficient when you are not investing to change the machinery? So the ECG is inefficient.
Beyond the machinery, then there's the collection bit.
The collection bit. What about the collection bit? You need a meter. The meter is malfunctioning. You need to buy and replace the meter, bring the one that functions. And you say there's no money to give to ECG, go and buy the meter. So how did they replace the malfunctioning meter? Because maybe the meter is under reading, that's why it's not capturing the actual consumption. Okay. So how do you talk about that? If we say collection, who is the biggest owner, institution that owns ECG? It's government.
Government agencies, yeah.
The president recently ordered that Jubilee House should be exempted from paying electricity bills. Jubilee House. Why should Jubilee House be exempted? They should be paying and know how much they are supposed to pay. And then when they are making policy, they will know how to do the right policy. For the past 15 years, we have been talking about government institutions want to put them on solar. So that ECG, we said it is muff about putting government institutions on solar. Okay. Nothing is happening. It's just by word of mouth. But we are not doing the right thing. So you see, if we want ECG to work, to serve as Audu has said, so that it doesn't take long to go and buy, we should tell ourselves that politicians, stop from fooling us, okay? Tell us the right commercial rate to pay for electricity, okay? Tell us the right to pay for fuel. Don't go and put electricity money on fuel. Let's understand that this is what it is. If you make it and we are paying and the system becomes efficient, efficiency will then reduce your cost of operation and the rates will come down. And at the end of the all of us will benefit. Jinapor said we need 1.2 billion to buy only liquid fuel, which is not factored into ECG's PRC billing. That is why they want to put tax here. Now, just to buy fuel for the thermal plant that use gas, to power them. Use heavy fuel or crude oil itself. We need 1.2 billion a year to buy just that fuel. And by it says that why PURC is doing its calculations in terms of tariff, it's not part of it. So where will ECG get the money to buy the fuel to power the plant if it's not part of the tariff?
Okay,
Lily. He was talking about procurement. I think one of the reasons why we are facing this challenge about liquid fuel and all that is about the contracts that we have signed with the IPPs.
Yes.
Why would we sign a contract for a company to supply us with electricity and we say that we'll buy fuel for that company?
Because politicians sign the contract.
Because they want to procure the fuel and get money. Why don't you allow the person giving the energy to procure his own fuel and then give you the energy and you pay? You want to, so that if you, government that has signed pay or take or pay, you are not able to provide fuel and all that, yet you have to pay some money one way or the other.
Capacity charges. My plant can work, but you didn't give me fuel. So you have to pay me.
You have to pay me because my machines are dead. Why don't you allow the companies that you have, the IPPs, to buy their own fuel, generate the electricity, and we buy?
But you have answered the politician, the one buying the fuel and making a cap on buying the fuel.
I think that is about time these contracts are reviewed so that the companies, the IPPs, will buy fuel themselves. Politicians will leave that to them. Their duty is for them to provide energy for electricity. Let them buy their fuel, generate and will buy. And Ghanaians will pay whatever want. This procurement thing that they are talking, liquid.
So let me add one. We say Ghana's currency is what, Cedi. Yes. I always Bank of Ghana say don't price anything in dollar. But the IPP's contract is
They are all
signed
in
in dollars.
dollars.
And ECG actually pays in dollars.
Yes.
So when ECG collect the CD, it needs to change
convert
to dollars,
Dollars.
and pay them in dollars.
And when our city depreciates further, if
Then
you have to pay more.
there's a shortfall because ECG sold at the time the CD is maybe 10 CD. If it goes to 12, the time you bought the power is 10. But by the time ECG is going to buy another power is 12. Meanwhile, you bought it at 10. So ECG already making loss. So who got to sign a contract? Ghana's law says we are spending CD.
And yet you sign contract.
That's what I sign contract says. We will pay the IPPs in dollars. And those people are all working free. And then you go and blame the people at ECG that they are the
But the current minister is part of.
They are not.
It's part of the
workers of ECG. We should stop attacking them. They are not the problem of ECG.
It's government.
ECG's biggest problem is politicians.
If they sign contracts.
It's politicians.
Let me hear Idi's final word, and then unfortunately my time is up. Then I can wrap up.
Well, energy issues. I'm sure by now the politicians have learned their lesson.
They are not. They never learn.
We don't play politics with energy issues. I remember closely when we were paying the toll debt recovery levy. As we speak, toll owes over 570 million Ghana cedis.
Is it dollars or Ghana cedis?
Ghana cedis, we told. Now toll has promised that by next month.
Toll debt is dollars.
Okay, the 570.
It's $1 million.
Okay, over 517 million dollars.
Meanwhile, we have been paying toll recovery debt from since 2003. 2003, we have been paying toll recovery debt levy on fuel.
Exactly.
Madness.
And then the assurance is that from next year, toll will begin refining our own crude. And it says about more than 60%. We've heard this before. In fact, everything that we are talking about here, with the exception of the Chief Justice.
And we are only going to cause small losses. We are going to cause small losses. You know why? Toll is an inefficient equipment. Modern refineries. It's not what we have there. So we become Moses. Unfortunately, I don't see why we are not applying common business sense to this. And we still want to go and put money and
sentimental attachment.
The truth is that you pay the worker salary anyway. But toll at its current state, equipment we have bought at 10, 15 years. So if you go to the Middle East, the kind of equipment they are using to refine oil that makes it commercially sustainable, we don't have. So why do we want to revive it?
But here's the thing. I'm very sure that it's good that, and the fact that it's 40.
We've heard this before.
No, that's the point I'm making.
President Gov't bought the catalytic cracker. It was going to increase stock capacity to 100,000 barrels. At the end of the day, they were doing less than 30,000 after buying the catalytic cracker.
And in today's world, do we still need that catalytic
cracker? Or we need it replaced. So hopefully they get all the needed things done.
Let's pray.
It's good news that we are refining our own crude because see,
we are going to.
It's good that we are going to refine our own. We are thinking about refining our own crude. What happens is that we sell the crude, it's refined, and then we buy the finished product and import. Right, that makes it costly. And so if there is a way of getting toll to work again with modern equipment, why not? But let's get it right. As we speak now, toll is like a tank farm. And that's how
it's not money. Like it is a tank farm.
That's how it makes money. Other people import fuel and then they store it for them. And when they need, they come for the fuel. Yeah. That was not the vision that boasts of its own refinery. Dangote has put up the biggest in Africa. Regardless of the impediment put on its way. Very soon, Nigeria might not have the need. An individual.
It's not very soon. All right, Nigeria's fuel problems are now gone.
Will not be importing fuel. So Russia and Ukraine can decide to do whatever they are doing. Israel and Iran can decide to do whatever they are doing. Nigeria will have stable fuel prices. That should be the way.
And you see, that's where I come in. That's why we don't need to revive toll. Do you know why? Dangote refinery can supply the whole of West Africa. 4 years now, we'll be told that, although we tried, that
you on your screens on the 9th of July 2025. So please look out for it. We're the Amanzuba, prolific musician here in the country. You can get to enjoy beautiful renditions of all the songs that you've enjoyed throughout your life. But it's now time for Hard Talk. This morning, I've been joined in studio by Emma Cedi. She's Director of Communications and Corporate Affairs for Zoomlion Ghana Limited. Zoomlion has been in the news lately for all the wrong reasons. She's here to help us understand what is happening with the contracts with YA, why there are lots of disparities with payments, why sweepers were up in arms, why people are furious about the amount being paid to sweepers when Zoomlion gets much bigger monies that is allocated per the contract. Good morning, Emma. How are you?
I'm good, Lily, and yourself?
I'm doing awesome. It's good to see you. Let's talk about the Youth and Sanitation Module contract between YA and Zoomlion. When was this and what was stated in the contract?
Thank you. Let me take you a step back.
Okay.
This contract did not exist before we came in at 2006.
Okay.
The government then had realized the security issue regarding unemployment of youth, so decided to get them engaged in a way. So this was supposed to be for youth, let me put it in my own way, youth in transition. Like you've ended one bit of your program, you're waiting to get your results, you're waiting for a job, something, then you pass through for 2 years. And the plan that the owner of Zoomlion Ghana Limited, Joseph Cia Japan, had that was being proposed was to use donkey carts to collect the waste that the youth would have aggregated from the street to the dump sites or whatever. So by then he had brought into the country a tricycle, manual tricycle. So as a good citizen, he proposed that to the proponents of the idea that, listen, I've heard this is what is going to happen. It's good that we manage the streets. But to use donkey carts, are we not going to go and come back to clean after the donkeys? So look at these tricycles. I have brought them, I'm piloting them somewhere in Bolga. So it was looked at, and I think it was acceptable. So he was given the assignment to use his tricycles to manage the project, hence managing the entire staff that the NYEP then had for that project. That was how we came on board. Okay. And at the end of the 2 years, we were given the nod to continue. And we did that a couple of 2 years. And in 2019, the then government decided to open a competitive procurement. We entered that landscape. And by the grace of God, we have presence in all the 261 districts of Ghana. And so we have capacity also. We had also shown ability to work. So we got the nod again and we did it. And that was what we've been doing till now. Now, then, that time, it was the then 500 cities then. And I'm referring to that
then as in 2007?
2006 when we started.
Okay.
The beneficiaries were given an allowance of 500 cedis.
Okay.
It was not then the Ghana cedi. So anytime the adjustment has been done to the allowances of the beneficiaries, we have played a very, very significant role in initiating the discussion for presenting a recommendation for an upward adjustment. So that has been done by us most often until now that it was brought to 258 cedis. Now, Lily, the contract belongs to the government and it's governed by YA. And we have been selected to manage it until its expiration in March 2024. And a 6-month extension was given till September 2024. Even at that time, we had proposed that if we will go forward with a contract, we will propose an upward adjustment of the allowances to 500. And anytime we have done this recommendation, it's not like we put it on the table and our stakeholders grab it and we run with it. We sit and negotiate.
Okay.
Because the entire project has an amount that has been allotted to it per head. And that amount in the one that ended is 850 Ghana cedis. And as we sit at the negotiating table, we bring out our list of logistics that we will use. Equipment and tools, PPEs, personal protective equipment, and the consumables that will be used for the job. Then our management fee. All these 3 components have specific amounts attached to them. At the negotiation table, both parties discuss. To the latter, for example, we'll talk about individual tools and how we have the cost attached to them. Why you will tell you, okay, this tool or this equipment or that consumable, we won't buy it at this rate. Then we finally agree on something. So the amount that is paid to the beneficiaries is also given out by YA. We both discuss it and we agree on a figure.
So it is not Zoomlion imposing that amount on beneficiaries. It's agreed at the negotiation table.
Yes.
Okay.
And it is not even possible for Zoomlion, the contractor, dictating the amount that it's going to pay beneficiaries that have been employed by YA, the owners of the contract, and have given them appointment letters that bears an ID number.
So let me get this straight. The appointments are made by YA and not Zoomlion.
Yes.
That is the case.
Yes.
Okay. And the set amount is agreed upon by YA.
Yes.
And is stated in a contract.
In the contract and in the appointment letter.
Okay.
So that has been it. So I find it a bit challenging to appreciate when I hear people saying you take as if it was there and we grab it and get running with it. Our management services fee is a little over 160. It's, I think 168 or thereabout. It is not even up to 170. That is what Zoomlion Ghana was paid. Let me say so because the contract is normal. Was paid for the work we did. And don't forget, that was not profit. That was to give us the ability to handle our overheads. We have presence in all the 261 districts and municipalities, metropolises in Ghana. So if even it is a hut in a district where our offices is located, the owner charges rent, and that should be paid for. The officers who work in that office commute between the district and the region, doing stakeholder engagement meetings, attending to administrative work on the project, and many other things that we do. Basically, we were to handle the operational aspect of the project, whilst YA also handled the recruitment, assignment, the payment of the contractor, and then monitoring.
So in the years that you've done this contract with YA, I'm sure that people have come to you, even the beneficiaries have come to you about how inadequate these funds were. And how long was these funds supposed to last for? Is it a month? Is it a monthly basis, weekly basis? How long do you pay them for? Every month? 258 for every month?
Yes, it's
and they work 30 days?
It's a monthly allowance, and they work Monday to Saturday. And they work at most 4 hours.
Okay.
Each person.
And these 4 hours, were adhered to strictly?
Yeah, I'm saying at most because somebody can finish the assigned area in 2-3 hours. Yeah.
And has this module lived up to its expectation?
Yes, because
we've still had so much sanitation challenges in the country. This module, has it lived up to its expectation?
It has. This was a two-pronged objective for the module. One, to get the youth employed for a brief moment of 2 years, and also help manage the public, cleanse the public of the waste. We mean the principal streets and the public spaces around, such as the lorry parks and the markets. So the other and many sanitation issues belong to the general public. And YEA will not be able to handle the entire sanitation issues of its jurisdiction, like the municipalities, metropolises and districts. It does the principal streets, the public spaces, markets and lorry parks, that's it.
And in the past, we've had qualms from some of the beneficiaries who've complained that monies have not been paid to them. Why did we have such issues?
Yeah. In the early days, government attempted paying them. And, government money is not stuffed at a place where you just go and you grab. It is aggregated from our taxes and everything. So it got to a point that it was getting messy. So the government decided to get PPP involvement, which is public-private partnership involvement. So we were asked to carry on with that one, pay them for 3 months, and government reimburses at the end of the quarter. Now, we are a business, and sometimes raising funds gets challenging, and that's a normal phenomenon in business running. So when it happens like that, we push for payment to be received from government, or we go for a facility per our strength. Our strength, one of them means having a running contract document. When I show that to any financial institution that, hey, I have a contract with government, I need support, they will bless you with that support quickly because government is the biggest payer, let me put it that way. So if the allowances delay, at most in another quarter, it's paid. But in the last nearly 4 quarters, almost 2 years, we have not received any reimbursement from government. And as a business, having done this for nearly 2 decades, we push our energies from elsewhere around us into the YEA. And for how long can you do this?
And what was the response from government on non-payment of these allowances to you, or funds to you?
There is no response yet. And
does it mean you have still not received those funds for the past 2 years?
Yes.
Were you paying these beneficiaries the allowances while you are not receiving funds?
We have paid for a number of quarters and the reimbursement hasn't come. The agreement was to do that for a quarter and you are reimbursed and you keep on going. Yes. So we are owing the beneficiaries a couple of quarters.
A couple of quarters? How many months?
It varies from area to area. And so I would say within the same period that we have not received payment from government.
So let me understand. You say varies. 5 months, 6 months, a year?
It's a year and a little bit more.
A year and a little bit more without payment of funds?
Yeah.
Of any sort?
To us from government?
To them, to the beneficiaries?
Yes, to them, yes.
And you're expecting them to go back and work?
The contract expired. So that has been it. At the end of the contract...
No, but you say you owe them you owe the beneficiaries about a year of non-payment of allowances.
Yes.
Is that the case?
Yes.
And you were still expecting them to go and work?
Yes, because many a time when it delayed, we work with them.
Was it stated in their contracts, the beneficiary contracts, that your salaries or allowances will delay for up to a year.
That is not in their contract. That is not in their contract.
So
because in our contract also, in the discussion for the pre-financing, we also didn't expect any delay.
But did you tell them that in the event that government fails to pay me the funds, I will not pay you? Was that stated?
We did not expect any delay. Okay, so that one happened on the go with the contract running. So we explained to them.
Was that why somewhere in 2022 there were complaints that sweepers were not on site? Was that the reason?
Many a time when it delays, beyond their expectation, they come up a bit. Just around that time they come up, we sort them out.
Okay, so when it delays and you're paying them, do you pay them in bulk?
Yes.
Okay. But the complaints on the allowances being very meager, was it something you tabled before the YA?
Yes, I told you earlier that we have recommended an upward adjustment.
Of how much?
No, I'm saying that we have been recommending an upward adjustment
of
anytime we realize that the amount given as the allowance is no longer meaningful. So this very time, we proposed a 500 and YA also came up with their proposal, and then we shifted it to 420 and they proposed a 300.
Okay. Now the contract has been terminated. Well, it's ended. And has it been renewed? Has there been any conversation about its renewal?
There's no conversation yet about its renewal.
And is Zoomlion going to tender in once it's opened by the assemblies? Now the government says that the assemblies will be in charge?
Yes. We will also bid because that is what we came to do. And we have run this. There is no waste management contractor in this country who has run this street cleaning contract belonging to YA like we have done before. So we'll ride on that one and also bid.
I understand that the contract you have with the temporal, was there a plan to roll them into permanency? Or it was just after a while, we'll let them go, we get new ones? Was there a plan?
You see that we do not engage them. We don't hire them. They are engaged by YA, handed over to us to manage. Now, during the process of management, we build a relationship.
True.
So when we started earlier, we wanted to empower women. So we got some of the females to be riding those manual tricycles. We saw the enthusiasm with which they did it. So management decided that let's try them at their free time on these heavy-duty equipment. So some of them were not lettered at all. We helped them to appreciate numeracy and literacy and help them to acquire licenses, driver's licenses. And so we trained them to do heavy-duty equipment operation. So today, some of them, having passed out, are operating the landfill compactors, the skip trucks, the compaction trucks, all these heavy-duty trucks. Some females that we train, we nicknamed them Zoom captains, and they are still in the system. We send them for job shadowing and some sort of training in China with the manufacturers of those machines so that they could see for themselves and ask them their own questions. These people were moved on after the 2 years into the mainstream. Some have bettered their own lot to become accountants. Some of the males have moved on to become full-time drivers
of Zoomlion.
Okay. So we do not have that formal structure attached to the contract. But as and when they come in, because of the relationship we build, then we scale them up. The YEA beneficiaries, in 2024, we sent a couple of them and their team leaders, a couple of the team leaders and their supervisors to Belarus and Russia for them to see what it is like. cleansing the streets in the advanced countries. So they can have a discussion with their team members to also pick it up from there, because of course we cannot carry all of them to go and see with their eyes.
Mm-hmm. Now, the contract has not been renewed as we speak. Does it affect the investment you've made in sanitation management issues?
It is a yes and no.
Okay.
Because we have other lines we run.
Okay.
And most of our equipment do those lines, such as the Sanitation Improvement Program, where we support the MMDs with several sanitation equipment so that they can handle the other waste management issues and also service them with our trucks. And we also have the door-to-door that we do per areas that the assemblies have assigned to us, because we are not the only waste management contractors in Ghana.
Okay.
We are nationwide, we are almost 500, and in Accra, we are a lot. So the areas that have been assigned to Zoomlion, we have equipment that is deployed there.
If I asked you about whether you would tender to bid for the contracts and the under assembly, so you responded in the positive. If you're going to bid, are you reviewing the contract sum?
When you tender in a bid, you prepare your technical also, and then you do your financials. So we will do the financials per the going concern on the market, and then submit. And if the bid document stipulates specific figures that should be used, we'll go by that. Why not?
Okay. We've seen pictures of some tracks that you've received. What are these tracks for? Were they necessarily for this module or for something different?
No, I told you about the SIP. And the SIP is what we use. Those trucks are the skip trucks.
Okay.
So it's just skip because the container, the 12 cubic meter container that we place most often in the markets or at specific places, assigned for us to put them by the environmental gurus of the assemblies.
Okay.
That truck hooks it up and skips it onto the back of the truck, just like you're equipping the skipping rope. That's hence the name. So those trucks you saw are the skip trucks and the skip containers that have been distributed to the various assemblies that have a contract with us. And the trucks are going to service those containers. And we do this almost every 2 years.
Do you think that the public has been unfair to Zoomlion and bastardizing it?
Yes.
Why?
My reason for saying this is, we know, if not all of us, a lot of us, especially the very educated people. I know that this country has a number of people who have appreciation to environmental science, environmental management, waste management, and all. And even with our common traditional practices, we understand that in a contract, the agreement to the amounts involved doesn't reside solely with the operator. The upper hand is with the owner of the contract. I will take you back to, I'm a farmer's child. So in the village, when we go to get at Abrakun, the laborer that will work on the farm, the laborer comes in with the middleman who brings in the laborer. And the middleman serves as a witness. And the laborer says, when I do this 1 acre, I'm going to take so amount.
Okay.
Then my father will say, oh no, this is what I can afford. They both agree upon that. And the money is paid in the presence of the witness. That's it. YA has a contract. You call me to the table. I present how much I will take. You tell me how much the contract has.
Why?
To be paid to the contract, the
beneficiary.
The beneficiary that YA has given to me. How then does it become my problem? And people, I watched a short on Facebook, and the guy is saying that Zoomlion has taken all the money and has given very little. They are wicked people.
I mean, are you wicked people?
We are not wicked people.
Okay.
We are a genuine concerned citizens who have taken it upon ourselves to help Mother Ghana stand tall regarding environmental sanitation management. And that is what we want to do. Our mission is to improve the lives of people and their environment. So we cannot be wicked people.
Okay. Your final words before I let you go, Adra?
My final words to everybody who is listening, lovers of Zoomlion and people who do not have the facts. Zoomlion is a very transparent company, and we have worked with the government in several areas, and our mainstay is to help Ghana become greener, cleaner, and healthier. So as an individual, you also generate waste. Please, make sure you learn to reduce how you generate the waste at your generation point. Try and start sorting the waste. Put your plastics aside, put all others aside. We can deal with that one. The plastic that you put aside can earn you some extra money. And see Zoomlion as that waste management company that is ready to support Ghana have a very clean, green, and healthy environment.
There's a story here. Says Zoomlion expands management expertise to Burkina Faso. What does it mean necessarily? What are you doing for Burkina Faso?
We are doing a full sanitation to a temporary holding site if need be. We move it from there to ideally, to the processing plant where it is sorted. Because in Africa, well, let me start from Ghana. In Ghana, the research that we did tells us that the characterization of the waste is about 61 to 62% organic. Now, if it is like that, the only way you can give a second life to organic waste is to recycle it into compost. And then that new product compost goes into the agrarian community and we get better food.
So it's a replication of what you're doing here in Burkina Faso,
yes,
especially with the Accra compost plant.
Yes, so they will get a processing unit. I don't know whether it is one or two, but they'll get processing units set up for them, and we'll help them know how to cleanse their streets, and then the youth will be involved. So youth employment will feature in this project. However, we are not taking staff from Ghana to go there. Their youth should also be employed.
Okay. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Lina.
So that's Emma Adrapia Oseidria. She's Director, Communications and Corporate Affairs for Zoomlion Ghana Limited. Well, Zoomlion says they are not in charge of employing the beneficiaries, and they are not wicked people. What is given them per the contract is what is adhered to. I am back after this with us. Stay tuned in.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's a legend. He's a creator of melodies, and he's a soul of high life. From the rhythms of Osibisa to solo brilliance to his visionary leadership.
doing your bidding. There's also doing the bidding that will help the system to get the best of educational attention and services. Because I've kept on saying this thing, that the Bible has 66 chapters. It's only one that talks about lamentations. The rest talk about hope and inspiration. So in life, it's not for us to go and sit at SMC meetings or school boards, and the only story we hear is that, oh, government was supposed to bring A, B, C, and D, but government has been able to bring A, B, and C. But D, E, and F, government has not been able to bring it. And because it's not available, we find it difficult to create a conducive environment for effective teaching and learning. That's why we believe that development in education, together we build. So both the home, the school, and then the educational system, together with the community, we must come together to make sure that we create the conducive environment for effective teaching and learning, and make sure that our children get the best of what educational attention in terms of discipline, in terms of moral development, in terms of career upbringing, in terms of life skills education.
Okay.
All these things are very important. We must train our children to be assertive. Excuse my language. In the teaching space or within the education, they are bad nuts. They are good ones, but they are also bad people. So if a teacher is trying to take undue advantage of a child, it's the child's duty to be able to come out and say that, for this one, it's against our social norms and ethics. And this is not how my parents gave me up to you within that few space to train me. And if a child is also doing something within the school space and is going out of it, it is the teacher's responsibility to enforce discipline. Because in that space, he is a guardian. And he has what we call in law vicarious liability, to make sure that as far as my child is in his hands, my safety, the child's safety, and making sure that his security is very safe. As I'm here now, if anything happens to me and it's in the negative, you will not take the credit for it.
Yeah.
They will hold you for vicarious liabilities. If it's in the positive, we'll leave here and people will talk good about you people, about your brand and all those kind of things. So that is what we believe we should do together as a country.
But does your council expand to private schools as well?
Yes.
Okay.
We regulate both public and private schools. But let me say it, and I have to admit, there will be challenges, because see, to be able to do this thing well, you need to get a lot of resources to be able to do the monitoring, to be able to make sure that there are controls in terms of the payment of PTA dues and levies, because we don't go to the table to just discuss. After the discussion, if there are actions that need financial resource to make the thing work, it's our duty to make sure that together with the parents, we don't overburden them. They work within what they can afford to be able to support the system.
Okay. Since you are partners in the development of schools and children, what's your take on the free senior high school policy and where we are currently?
I'm not only looking at the free senior high school policy. I'm even looking at the FCUP.
Okay.
We've tried to look at the free SHS as against the FCUP. The basics is very important. This building is strong because it has a solid foundation. The Bible says that if the foundation is destroyed, what can the righteous do? So let's look at basic education, the free compulsory universal basic education, and look at the infrastructural issues. Let's look at the operational logistics. Let's look at the kind of teachers we have in the public schools and see whether we are actually resourcing them to deliver so they can build the students up so that when they get to the secondary school, it becomes easy for them to be able, with little support and guidance, they can be able to what? Find the space to be able to do their research and be able to prepare themselves for. So both, there are challenges. And I think that government cannot do it alone.
So what's your role in there?
Our role in there is to make sure that we make sure the schools are safe, the schools are well resourced. If the schools have challenges, the schools are named after communities. And in that community, it's only those whose investment is in the school, it is there that their heart is in that school. So if you say that, oh, the school has been named as maybe, let me use, which community can I even use? I don't want to be seen to be being biased, but let me just use any of the communities in Ghana, maybe Adabraka, a cluster of schools. The name Adabraka highlights something about the community. If the school does well, the name of Adabraka will be in the good books. If the school doesn't perform, there's Adabraka community, there are a lot of wayward, recalcitrant children and irresponsible parents in the community. So they have a role together to make sure with the school authorities to make sure that the children who stay in that school, they don't only go there and only attend school with acquiring education and the quality of the education. Because at the end of the day, when they assess them, together with the children in the private schools and together with children in other space to go and sit for the same exams, and one is well-resourced and adequately prepared, while the other is not well-resourced and adequately prepared, it's like you've put one group into the boxing ring, you've tied their hands to the back, and you say they should go and box. Meanwhile, the other side is well-prepared. They will box them out. So we need to look at these things well and fashion out policies that is fit for purpose to make sure that communities have a higher stake. We need to deepen parental voice in education.
Okay.
And I think that when we do that, things will help all of us to be able to go. That's why we believe in our motto, that development in education, together we build.
What are your thoughts about the buffer stock taking charge of school feeding? It commences on July 1.
To be very honest with you, I think that it was not helpful. That decision that was taken has not been helpful.
The previous one or this one?
The previous one.
Okay.
And
for
the new
the
move,
to be in...
then yes, we believe that, look, every man is a product of his environment. You understand? Within the space that the school finds itself, there are people there who can supply foods to the schools. There are people there who can support, build the local economy. There are people there who can make sure that whatever the school needs, if only they get the needed resources in terms of the financials, they can buy those things there and make sure they send. Because we saw over the period that when it started very well. If it's 100 bags of maize that is supposed to come, it comes. But if you compare the price vis-a-vis the price at the local level, you can see some vast disparities. And in that cartel, we are shortchanging the ordinary Ghanaian, and people are making a lot of goodies out of it. But if these things will be done, and the price might not be so much, there's no so much difference, but we'll still get the 100 of the quantities. They don't bring 100, they don't bring 80 and tell you sign against 100. And at the end of the day, it's because of the students that they bring these foods, and we will be in our homes and our children will tell us that, oh, we're supposed to get this quantity of food on the dining table. But the food that were fed us in terms of nutrition-wise is not nutritious. In terms of quality, it's not so quality. In terms of quantity, too, it's not measuring up. So we need to find a way to do some top-up. It brings extra financial burdens to us. So if government is trying to do this thing well, and also things that within the chain...
But you remember that in the past, we've had challenges with this particular...
That was why the government promised that it was moving away from that concept, and this time making sure that they empower and resource school authorities and the school boards to make sure that they provide the food at their own backyard. So when there was this transition, definitely there were these challenges. So they were supplying and augmenting. But we are yet to actually see in the report being alluded by the Minister of Education that the nature and the quality of the foods and they think that some people are still changing the system. Where I sit, I don't have any compelling... We're not consulted. We don't have any compelling evidence for that. And I will not say something that I don't have any evidence to it. What I know is that in most of the schools, people confess, our students confess openly that the quality of foods have, the quality and the quantity of the foods have improved.
So you think that we should maintain that system?
If the system is fit for purpose, why not? Why not? It's only a fool, excuse my language, that doesn't change its ways. If there was something wrong with the former system, and we promise that we are going to reset, and we want to fix it in a better way, I even think that the Ministry of Education should see that whole component of this whole thing to the Ghana Education Service, the Director General, and then through the school boards, and so that the PTAs can help doing a lot of monitoring. Because we are not under anybody, so we'll not be doing any yasamasa. If the thing is good, we'll say it is good. If it's bad, we'll say it is bad. Because when our children feel the pain and the pinch in the school, it touches me and you.
Absolutely.
So that is the bottom line of that discussion. But it's 6 months into the system, we are planning to have an opportunity to engage the Minister of Education and also take that forum to thank His Excellency the President for trying to reset the educational space and trying to deepen parental voice. But there's one thing we all need to look at it. The PTAs are growing. So if there's a national body, issues about students, parental involvement in education, anything that affects our children, we are the first people that it hurts us more than anybody. So at the table of the discussion, they shouldn't go and only sit and be discussing those issues of the CHAS, the COPS, Conference of Heads of Secondary School, Conference of Heads of Basic Schools, and all the other principals and the teacher unions, we should also be on that table and understand and appreciate what they are telling us. And they should also understand and appreciate what we are also seeing, because who watches the watchman? If you and your people who work under you, they come to report to you, it's not everything that they will tell you, but they'll keep on doing the gossips when they are talking to us. There are certain things they will know. But whether it's even possible that you are even doing the right thing, but because in a way they are not getting opportunity to milk the system, they will paint you in the bad light. Right. It's also possible that you are doing the wrong thing, but they don't have the courage to look at you and tell you, for this one, even though you say we should do it this way, it's not fit for purpose. And we as parents, and nobody should underlook us or underrate us, because in that space, everybody is there.
Okay.
You are there as a journalist. I am there as an educationist. We have carpenters, we have masons. Everybody is there. And we have what it takes to be able to help make sure that there's sanity in that space.
We do hope that there's enough collaboration between you and the education fraternity, especially the GES, the Education Ministry, and at the seat of decision making.
Yes, I think that there's a lot of goodwill from the president.